Hey everyone, before we get started with today's episode of the One Piece podcast, I want to just let everyone know that we have a very special guest, Grant, who is on today's episode. And we're going to go through chapter 544 with him, which is Impel Down, which is the most recent chapter he has read, before going through the most recent chapter of the manga that has come out, chapter 947. So, as usual, we have chapter features available on this episode. So if you want to skip ahead, feel free. But also, if you are not fully caught up with the manga, everything, the introduction, which we do a whole Q&A with Grant, that's spoiler free. And the chapter 544 recap is also spoiler free. So please enjoy all that. Of course, we also have an anime recap after that, where we're going to go through the episode preceding Wano, and I'm on that with Sam and Ed. And we have Piece Together, which Grant comes on briefly for, and we have the rest of the crew on to talk about your questions, comments, and theories. And of course, please visit us at patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast if you have not. We just put up 3,500 pictures there of our trip to Japan. Plus, we have the entire OPP Japan feature available for all those $1 and up. We have a lot of other special videos from the trip we just took, posts, and more. That's all available at patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. So with that out of the way, let's get into the show. This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 576 for the week of Sunday, June 30th, 2019. My name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
My name is Steve.
My name is Alex.
And on today's show, we have a lot of special guests. First, the director for Rick and Morty and Teen Titans Go, we have Brian Newton with us. How's it going, Brian?
Hello.
What was that?
It's the most authentic Brian response I've ever heard.
Look how listen to how old you've become.
We have from Anime News Network, also our anime recap host. We have Sam Leach with us. How's it going, Sam?
Yo, yo, yo.
I'm going to be joining you for this week's anime recap, so I'm excited to do that. We also have with us, she is from Japan, our resident artist, though not doing the art for this episode.
From Japan.
No, she's in You're in Japan. Maddie's
Okay.
here.
Yeah, hi.
I can't get through this at all. And I believe last but certainly not least, I hope I didn't miss anyone here. He is a Twitter sensation beyond any Twitter sensation. We have Grant with us. How's it going, Grant?
It's going pretty good. The Twitter sensation. Oh, that's not how I want to be remembered. But sure.
Yeah. Well.
He's also on Blade Licking Thieves, the Super Senpai podcast, and many others. Grant, we're so happy to have you on the show finally.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. It's nice to finally be far enough along to actually be present, you know.
Sure. I mean, we're gonna have you caught up in around 9 years from now.
Yeah, sure.
So we look forward to that. Yeah, 2028 is gonna be a hell of a year. But first, do you want to kind of introduce yourself and your journey through One Piece thus far?
Sure, I guess. I am just, my only claim to fame is that I am a person reading One Piece, not exactly the most unique feather to have in one's cap, but I guess the thing that makes me on here is that I didn't really encounter the series at a young age. I encountered it much later in life, man in his 30s, more weathered, and I'm reading it chapter by chapter, day by day, and tweeting my just long threaded response as I journey through the series, which I guess is interesting if you like my thoughts on it, but I think it's probably more interesting just because the community has sort of gathered around it, and it's become sort of every day we get together and gather around the water cooler and talk about One Piece. So I really don't think the phenomenon, the Twitter sensation, if you will, has much to do with me so much as just people gather around and share thoughts, or they talk about what was happening in fandom at a certain time or whatever. And that's been really, really exciting. I jokingly call it a book club, as that's kind of what it is in a way. But it's been really fun to not only hear all the stories and the ways in which this work has affected so many people and brought people together, but it's also interesting to have people see my perspective on it, because I'm an older fan, not encountering it when I'm in my early teens like most people do, and coming at it with a different eye. And I don't know if I necessarily have the best commentary, but I try to talk about things a certain way and try to talk about visuals and framing and things like that, not because I think I'm an expert, but just because that's how I like to talk about media. And from what I gather, that's not super common. So people seem to really be energized by the discussion, if not necessarily the specific content of it.
I was going to say you're underselling it.
Yeah, I know. Grant's being super, super modest. His analysis of Twitter, of One Piece on Twitter, are extremely thoughtful. And it's like, if you're not following him yet, just do it, because it's incredible. He takes a page every chapter and does like an in-depth analysis of panel layout and everything, and it's really incredible. And I haven't ever seen someone do such a great analysis of One Piece.
And since most of us got into it in our 20s and teens, we really appreciate someone in their 30s being able to.
Yeah, because we were dumb teens at the time that was just like, this is a fun comic book.
No, we were teens with impeccable taste.
Yeah, well, we're adults with impeccable taste now, but
well, it's interesting. I
don't let things go. I don't quit.
Yeah, there's two people right now at work who I've gotten caught up to One Piece. One's almost fully caught up, and another person's in the smack dab in the middle of Venice lobby. And these are also people like relatively later in life and had heard of the series, but didn't quite, because like the length of the series seems daunting to most people, and it only gets worse as we get older. Yeah. Actually, if we can segue to a couple, follow-ups. Grant, what made you want to read One Piece, given its length and reputation?
Well, not the length, that's for sure. and also thank you all for all those nice things you just said. I'm definitely, you can't tell because this is an audio medium, but I'm blushing on the other end of the call. So
we could tell.
You can hear it in my voice.
The blushometer is going off the chest.
My hockey is blushing, actually, and making others blush.
Oh my.
No, but, as a young man, I, of course, watched Dragon Ball tons and watched it over and over and over again on Toonami and things like that. And I'd, within the past few years, before kind of getting into the fandom, at least that I'm kind of the space I'm currently in, I'd watched things like Fist of the North Star and stuff like that. And I'd sort of burnt myself out on the long-running shonen thing. I kind of got my feet wet a little bit watching Gintama a few years ago, and that's where I sort of did my first long thread with something, and that was successful, not to the degree that this One Piece thread has been, but it was very successful, and I really enjoyed the process of going through it. So I was sort of asking people, hey, I liked doing this. It was much easier to tackle. Gintama is another one that people say, oh, there's 300 plus episodes, or there's hundreds and hundreds of chapters. How do I get into it? But going at it as a group made it not only more palatable, but more of a communal experience, as opposed to just me watching hundreds of episodes by myself. So it made me a little bit bolder, and I said, okay, what other long-running thing, and I started talking, and people kept suggesting One Piece, so I jumped in. That was really the only draw, was that so many people who I trusted said, no, it's really something you need to get into and you need to take part in, because for a long time, the length I didn't find terribly appealing. Pirates don't necessarily jump out to me right away. I mean, it's not like I don't like pirates, but it's not, I'm not like, oh, pirates, and to be perfectly honest, a lot of the, which of course I've learned in retrospect was not the right opinion to have, but just if you're not familiar with One Piece, just seeing like a splash of the characters doesn't really tell you much about the series. It doesn't really tell you about Oda's ability to make them be expressive or anything like that. They just kind of look like Muppets. And I was like, I'm not interested in these Muppets. And then now that I've begun reading and realizing I've completely, gone to the other end, and I love Oda's style. I love what he does. And I've just been completely caught up in the world and all that. But the initial hook was just people told me it would be fun to read. So I read it.
Now you love these
and
Muppets.
hopefully you love Muppets now.
Oh, I mean, I loved Muppets before.
Oh, I was gonna
the-
say, like, you're a monster.
But those Muppets are moving, and just seeing these Muppets in still shots, if you don't know much about the series and don't know what Oda does with them and all the character building and stuff, it is kind of like, it's a different style, I guess I'd say.
Yeah.
I mean, I only have one more question for Grant. What's a Muppet?
Well, it's
Well, when a puppet believes in themselves, that makes a Muppet, right? They make dreams come true.
see, that's
So-
a much better answer than the one that Steve was expecting.
Which was just a joke from The Simpsons.
This
Alex,
is what we do here.
that's 90% of what we do here.
I was testing you.
Yeah.
And you failed.
Yes.
It was nice having you on the podcast.
So Grant, when do you think was the moment when you were reading One Piece that you kind of knew that, okay, wow, this is kind of what this is the series that people were telling me about. Like, this is worth it.
That's tough. I mean, my spider sense began to tingle when Buggy gets introduced because, I love shonen fighting stuff, and you get used to the patterns and the tempos, and you get used to certain sort of narrative, like, okay, we're going to hit this, we're going to do this thing, we're going to do that thing, and certain expectations. And Buggy was a very early villain who, his devil fruit power, obviously Oda needs to show you devil fruit powers can do all kinds of things, but for such an early villain who is not present too terribly long, his power is not only interesting for Luffy to fight against, but really wacky and sort of charming and whimsical and silly. And I was like, this is a really interesting, I'm coming from something like Fist of the North Star where, I'm just expecting, okay, he's just going to run across some giant beefcake guy who says, no way, you're just a kid, and then gets punched and killed or whatever.
Good old Kenshiro.
Buggy is this really weird and wacky villain, and I was like, there's a lot of thought put into Buggy and his crew and their looks and all this stuff for very little page space. I'm starting to see it there, but probably Arlong Park, everything with Nami and her backstory and the tattoo and Luffy putting the hat on her head. I mean, it was just like, okay, here we go. Here's the cathartic emotional destruction that I really crave.
Here come the waterworks.
Here comes that Kenshiro. And so that was probably when I really was like, okay, I see where this is going. And people it just kept building from there, of course. And many, many a tear has been shed. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing I really love about your analysis is you remark on the artwork a lot too. And you're in Impel Down right now. You're in the thick of it. Oda's style has tended to change a lot over time. I'm not sure if you have any particular thoughts on that at this point, but like it's sort of interesting when you go back and reread the first couple volumes, and I think Oda has this is just a personal note of mine that I think he's sort of excelled in terms of his action sequences, and I mean you're a veteran of wuxia films and the like. I kind of want to get a sense of what your opinion is on Oda's style of action in the series.
So that is a good question. I guess I mean, particularly in terms of his art, I would agree. It's very strong and it's only getting better. But I mean, certainly one thing that struck me is, I mean, it seems now 544 chapters into this and doing it a year and a half. I mean, it's almost like me talking about the visuals. Like that thread would be something totally different if I wasn't talking about the visuals. But I think it's important to remember that was never part of the plan. I just read the first chapter, and then later that day, I was so struck by that first punch where he's punching that sea creature in his, like, the big squishy cheek and everything, and I was just like, why do I keep thinking about that? And I just had to get on Twitter and talk about it, and I realized there was a big response for that, and so I was like, well, what if I kept doing this, I guess? And that apparently is the thing people like. So that's it's very much a happy accident, but it's because Oda's art was so compelling from chapter 1 that I had to talk about it. So I guess that's about the most glowing recommendation I can make. He's just so strong right out the gate. It's not like, say, JoJo's is a very popular property. Watching a Rocky really like grow into what he's doing, which I don't think it's even his early stuff is as bad as people say, but he definitely grows and changes a lot arc to arc to arc, whereas Oda is getting stronger, but it's the baseline he's starting from is very, very strong just to begin with. In terms of his action sequences, I really, really like the ways in which he plays with page layouts. There's not a lot of, say, technical back and forth. I mean, it's a lot of character does super move, other character does super move, but it's the ways in which he expresses and emotes those moves on the page that just really makes them either on the page or with the page. Or I talk about this a lot in the thread where there's a lot of there's no physical realism. Like, say, a lot of your sort of big two American comics, they stick to that sort of physical reality, that sort of established. You don't have a lot of exaggeration in terms of the line work and stuff on most properties, right? Like Batman doesn't emote and get very weird when he punches somebody, whereas Oda he really cuts loose, and his characters, the physicality of them, the environments, the panels themselves are just all over the place in terms of how they express what's happening on the screen. So even though the fights themselves aren't, I mean, they're in the vein of JoJo's, I would say, with a lot of like, okay, how do I outsmart this character because his devil fruit, counters mine or in whatever way. But really, it's that emotional reality and the way in which, I mean, of course, like wuxia style, say like Zoro strikes a pose after a big impact is just as important as the actual sword strike itself. But just, I don't know, the way he expresses those attacks on the page is just, it's very powerful, and there's a lot of differentiation to it. I mean, Luffy solves a lot of problems by just punching them, but it feels different every time. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you brought up Zoro. Would you say that he's probably your favorite Straw Hat?
Well, I love all my children very dearly.
Except Job.
Except Job. Sanji is just good for me, not great. But everyone else I love very dearly. I do love
Maddie,
Sanji.
I thought you convinced him. Did you not?
I do love Sanji too. No, it's probably a 4-way tie for me. I love Robin, and I love Usopp. Robin is obviously the best, most interesting woman in the world. Super powerful, super great. All the stuff with the poneglyphs is I love all that with the ancient writings and all that. She's great. I love Usopp. I mean, who doesn't? He's easily one of the most relatable characters in the crew because he's just a complete coward. He's terrified of everything that's going on. So it's very easy to identify with him. And then I'm in this weird place because, like Zoro, I work out a lot. I smell a lot. I'm kind of a jock, and I'm just kind of dumb sometimes. But at the same time, like Chopper, I'm very doe-eyed and naive, and I spend a lot of my time going, wow, Zoro's really cool. So it's those four in this weird sort of solar system orbit all around, and I don't think I could pick between them. So don't make me. And Frankie too, just because Frankie's he's super.
What about your favorite non-Straw Hat?
That's a good. Well, I mean, excluding Buggy, I would say, because I think we've established that Buggy is high in the ranks, right?
Buggy's really high up, and he's a fellow blade licking thief. So anybody that licks the blade before they get defeated, that's my people. So boy, favorite non-Straw Hat's tough to call. I'm contractually obligated for my friend Scarlett to say it's Alvida because I'm part of the Alvida Defense Force, and she's awesome. And like Robin, proves that pirates wearing cowboy hats is a very powerful energy, greater than any hockey, truly.
Wow, okay, Sanji's worn cowboy hats like 4 times.
But not in the series, like in the movie.
Watch them movies already.
Maddie, can you name the 4 instances in which Sanji wears a cowboy hat?
Okay.
There's a color spread.
Strong
color
World.
spreads.
Yeah.
He wears one in the 15th anniversary. 15th, the like really horrible outfits. Was that 17?
So much. No, 15. You're right. It's 15.
That was 15. Yeah. Okay.
God,
so
that was 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
Is that a cowboy hat, or is it like just a really big like?
That's a
pirate
cowboy hat. That's a cowboy hat.
It's a cowboy hat.
I thought it was one of those
Excuse me,
like
are you
French
questioning
hats.
my Sanji
You
cowboy
eat your
hat
last
knowledge?
paw.
I'm just confirming, Maddie. Just confirming.
Then there's multiple ones in color spreads. I can't like name the chapter, but
Fine. I'll
there's
take
one
it.
where he has like a cowboy hat and like a vest with flowers on it. It's really good.
He also
maybe
wears
we
one
should
in
move
Cross
on.
Epic, maybe.
But especially Grant
He
just
does.
watched Strong World, so that's
I
like
know he did.
supreme cowboy Sanji right there.
That is
He's wearing
definitely.
he's like a pink cowboy. That's even better.
Sanji in Strong World looks like he works for like one of those Jurassic Park security companies or whatever that the guys always get eaten. I mean,
It's
which
the
fits
shorts.
too. Yeah, it's the shorts.
Yeah,
it's the
well, that's
clever
also the
girl.
movie where he
Yeah.
wears the tie over the sweater, which is in the
Oh,
lime
God.
green pants.
How could he
Like
be?
Avril.
How is he so fashionable, but also so not fashionable at the same
You know,
time?
Zach, it was his day off. They just defeated the enemy. He could just like throw something on. I'm like, I'm only making tea for everybody.
Yeah, I could wear my tie over my sweater.
Over his like.
They just
white-
walked out like, hey, wouldn't this be a goof if I wore a tie? Look how nutty I am.
I didn't
I mean,
realize.
Crocs.
cut up.
Talk about Sanji's Crocs.
Oh yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Crocs and Silk Girls. I bet Sanji and Nami like switch clothing. I bet they borrow from each other's closets.
Absolutely.
She would never allow that. She would never. Allow that.
No, I bet you Sanji wants to, but that's different from actually doing it. So what the hell were we talking about?
Yeah, your favorite
Sanji.
non-straw hat.
Non-straw hat.
Oh, yeah.
But Alvida's up there.
Alvida's up
obviously.
there. Buggy's up there. Bon Clay is up there. They're just, especially with, I mean, I loved Bon Clay before, but Impel Down is really just pushing them all the way up to the top.
That's
Shouting.
correct.
Luffy's in the Lazarus pit, and Bon Clay is shouting Luffy back to life. I mean, what a sequence, what a scene. And the Come My Way karate and all that is great. I also kind of feel like I have to give it a little bit to Dalton because I did him wrong in the thread. I said I
man.
didn't trusted him. I didn't
I
trust
loved
him.
that.
Oh wow. I
I-
didn't catch you
Yeah.
slagging on my boy Dalton.
I misjudged him right out the gate, and I will never pay for that. I really will.
I just love like as Grant's going through it, there's like this whole like group of people just like chuckling in the background because God, oh man, Grant and Duval was like the greatest
Oh yeah.
greatest part because he was like,
Yeah.
man, this guy's like the biggest of the bad guys. It's so intense. Wow. Like when Duval showed up and everyone was just like
Maddie, you
Looking
bring
at
up a
our
very
colleagues.
good point. We got
Clown
some
dodge
questions.
peg.
We got some questions from the audience out there. And I think you saw all of these. So I have to ask, this one comes from Masked Rider Hero on Twitter. He said, I'm curious to know how Grant thinks events will unravel from this point. The chaos of Impel Down and the events surrounding it are so up in the air that I imagine it's hard to predict what could be coming next. I know you asked that do you want me to just to hear doofy do you just want to hear doofy predictions and laugh when they're wrong? And of course the answer is yes. So yeah, what's gonna happen next in the series, Grant? And we're just all gonna
God.
mute so we can't laugh hysterically at whatever it's gonna be.
Okay. I mean, my gut tells me that Ace doesn't make it out of this, and that it's full-on war between Whitebeard and the Navy. Or that's what my gut's telling me, but I have no idea. Is
We're
that
all mute, so we're not gonna respond one way or the other.
okay? That's fine.
Yeah.
I like
Alex,
how
you have-
we're getting like predictions for One Piece from like 10 years in the past. What could
Maddie,
possibly
don't
happen?
criticize.
Again,
Alex, do you have
I'm
any other
doe-eyed
questions?
and naive. I've literally, I know nothing about One Piece. No one told me anything about it. I don't know what's. I have no clue.
It's really great. I know like you've been spoiled on some stuff, but
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like it's been super bad.
Yeah,
Like,
really,
for the
really
most
minor
part-
things. And my ability to forget things is pretty amazing. So even the stuff I get spoiled on, I get unspoiled very quickly.
You see, I have that a lot of the time. Like, I'll see the end of a movie, and then years later, I'll see that movie and not remember that was, Yeah. So that's great. But if you don't follow Grant on Twitter, it's Grant the Thief. Do not tweet him spoilers.
Yeah, please don't.
Please don't.
Please don't. I'm not saying that sarcastically. I'm saying that sincerely.
Yeah,
Alex,
if anyone tweets you spoilers, send them to my way. I'll take care of it.
Brian, what are you gonna? I don't even want to know.
Yeah, don't ask.
Yeah, you're
don't
a
ask.
lawyer. You don't want to be caught up in this.
Alex, do you have any other questions for Grant?
I do. Don't worry. I'll keep this pretty
Yeah,
short.
that's fine. Rapid
Yeah,
fire.
Grant. What would you say speaks to you the most about One Piece? Because you're in it to win it, buddy, and the people would like to know.
Speaks to me the most. Well, in some ways, I guess it's a combination of the fact that, I mean, Oda's a very skilled creator. I'm not going to sit and be like, oh, he and I are cut from the same cloth, but because we are not. In a lot of ways, I feel him just in the way because he very much is building this world in the same way that, say, I run a lot of role-playing games and things like that. The way I do world building and the way I build silly characters that very quickly become serious characters accidentally 10 sessions later, that kind of thing. So the world building aspect is something that I like what he does, and I see in that a similar skill set, but I also very much appreciate the skill that I do not have, which is pre-planning, which is looking ahead. And when Oda just comes around and you realize there's a fist that's been coming at you for 200 chapters, and you're like, no, and it just catches you. I guess his ability to build the world in the short term in a way that's exciting and interesting and wacky and kooky, and then also set up these just long payoffs. Like, that is a skill I don't have, and I very much respect that and his ability to basically do both what I feel like I can do quite strongly as a creator and also do things that I can't at all. That's just not my skill set. I can't see 15 minutes into the future. So his ability to just set those up is just really, really amazing.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned the role-playing aspect of it. Somebody last week told me or asked me to sell him on One Piece. He's like, yeah, so I fell out of anime after I graduated college, and sell me on One Piece. You seem to love it a lot, and I want to know why. I want you to sell me on it. And this person happened to be an old DM of mine. So I basically told him that, like, there's a heavy emphasis on world building, and all the characters have really great backstories, and the main characters are essentially a D&D party,
right?
So that, like, they all have their own specialized stats and classes, and it does read week to week like a session. So that's kind of interesting you brought that up.
Yeah, and some arcs, like, say, Skypiea, are very much like me and my friends go into a dungeon and find some ancient stuff and fight monsters. Like, there's a real heavy kind of adventure-y D&D feel there. So yeah.
Well, this will be my last question, so we can move on to the fun chapter bit. Thus far, what would you say is your favorite One Piece story arc? Yeah, how about that question?
Gotta kill some darlings. I mean, gun to my head, it's Water 7 and Enies Lobby. I mean, that payoff with Robin is just like, whew.
That is the correct answer.
It's top of the world, man. I mean, none of them. I love every arc I've read so far. I haven't, at no point have I been like, well, all of it has worked for me. But man, Annie's Lobby, that's that's it. That has been the cream of the crop so far.
Yeah, I think like I don't know, whenever you get like what's your least favorite arc, or who's your least favorite character, it's like, don't ask these questions because I love everything.
Right.
Now, I completely forgot about this. I meant to ask this question earlier because this isn't something that you've really talked about in your thread, and I would call this a exclusive, if you will. I would like your thoughts on the cover stories, because that is an area of One Piece that I think really sets Oda apart from a lot of shonen creators.
Yeah, the cover stories, yet again, a whole other area. I just don't understand how Oda lives. Like, I don't get how he continues to produce the amount he does and the quality he does and all these side stories and just
stacks of paper.
It seems like four hours a night at most, I think he said.
That still seems like a lot. It really does.
I think that's on a good night, and that was a while ago, so I don't know if that's changed. He had a health
He gets more
issue.
time off now. He gets more weeks off than anyone except
he does.
Yeah. He needs them because yet again the cover stories. At first I just thought they were fun and kind of cute, and then people were like, by the way, there's stories there too. And I'm really bad about keeping my. I forget things very quickly. I'm very bad about remembering all the threads, but I like to read them and enjoy them. And it's just, I don't know. It's just one extra layer of appreciation. And I mean, maybe that's part of the draw of One Piece too. Is that it's definitely a multi-layered work, and it can be a lifestyle. You know what I mean? Like you there's so much to it.
We know.
There's so much
Don't
in it.
say.
I'm sure you all know. Like there's so many different ways to interact with the work, and it just underlines the fact that it's a really big world with lots and lots of things happening. And even though the Straw Hats are clearly a big deal, there's things happening all over the world, and sometimes it doesn't even involve them, and it can be everything from, an hero goes to the moon and discovers ancient carvings to, okay, here's the guys arm wrestling and drinking drinks with umbrellas in them. It can be all over the place, and I don't know, I just really appreciate that, and I just can't believe that he's writing another comic on the cover of the comic. You know what I mean? Like there's another comic he's writing every week. It blows my mind.
Yeah. What'll disappoint you about the anime is that after the first two, the Buggy and the Kobe Helmeppo one, they completely stopped animating them. So when characters like Django,
they did do the Wapple one recently.
Yeah,
they did do the Grand Fleet.
They also
do a collection of stills.
Well, I mean, also, Alex, with what's starting in this chapter that we're about to review, we get what the Straw Hats, where the other Straw Hats were sent to, and that was also animated.
Okay, well, I'm just salty that they didn't do the Django cover story. So.
We're getting
true.
Yeah, have that one.
Good reason.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to settle for Django's Dance Carnival, the spiritual
that's it.
successor to.
What is that, movie 3?
Movie 2. The
Movie
second
2.
movie has the Django's the Django short, which is fine. If you like Para Para.
Alex, do you have any other questions before we get
No,
into a full Django?
that's it. I'm
So-
good.
Maddie.
I was just gonna say, I feel like that's a good lead into our next chapter because we got a pretty good cover image going on here.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about chapter 544. Then I'm going to give you like a lightning round questions from fans because we have a bunch more I don't want to completely exclude here. So we're going to talk about the very first chapter we did a podcast about 10 years ago on May 31st, 2009. We're going to do it with Grant, so it's going to be significantly better. Not even just because of Grant, but for many other reasons as well. So we're going to get into that. I'm underselling me and Ed, if anything. We're going to get into that right now, and then we're going to talk about chapter 947, which Grant will not be on for. So let's get into that right now. This is the manga recap for chapter 544. The lid to the cauldron of hell opens. And before we talk about this first page here, we should mention that you could read this chapter and all chapters of One Piece on shonenjump.viz.com. To read the entire back catalog, it's only like, what, $2 a month or something like that?
$1.99 a month, not even
$1.99.
As soon as it hits 2, I'm dropping it.
Someone bless their heart.
Tax kind of.
Yeah.
Someone I met yesterday at a party. They know Japanese, and they're like, "Hey, I was thinking of like reading One Piece. Maybe I should just go to Book Off and buy the Japanese volumes." I'm like, "Okay, I understand you want to do hard mode, but for $2 for the month, you could just read it right now, like I'm doing. Look at me, I'm reading all of it on my phone."
Yeah, so we're going back a little bit of a ways. We're in Impel Down. This is the last chapter you have read, Grant, right? You have not read anything past this.
Correct.
And for the sake of this, we're all going to pretend we have not read past this. And because I know there are people listening that don't want to be spoiled for current things, including Grant, so we're not going to do that. But we are going to appreciate this classic chapter of One Piece. Ed, what's going on in the front page here?
Chapter 544, The Lid to the Cauldron of Hell opens, and it's part of limited cover series number 11, Sanji's Kamabaka Hell Insanity, final volume, One of the Girls. And look at him. He's got his hairy legs frolicking in the beach.
Maddie,
I
thoughts?
remember this time.
Yeah, no, his legs are like even hairier than usual. Oda went to town.
Yeah. Well, he's matching everyone else. This is some of the more problematic part of Eva's appearance in the show.
Feminine beauty.
And
Yeah.
Sanji's.
I was going to say Sanji's appearance in the show, but okay. Any other thoughts on this first page?
I
Grant.
can't not see Sanji's legs and not think of Oda going, "This one's for you, Maddie." Him leggy.
Yeah,
Going to town.
if there's any favorite character that Maddie has, Sanji's number 2, and number 1 is Sanji's legs.
I was going to say, Maddie, how does it
Sanji's
feel to be
okay.
known exclusively for your love of Sanji's legs?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks, guys.
also want to
Yeah.
point out in this cover that like Sanji clearly needs more practice with applying makeup. He's gone a little too hard.
Yeah, he
He's
is
having a
terrible
really
at
good
it.
time, obviously.
It's his
It's
first
like-
time.
Just slather it
Yeah,
on.
that first time you kind of go all in. It was like, wait, you need to learn a pretty big balance of like not too much, a little subtlety, a little more like eyeshadow. No, he's just all lips.
I am learning so much about Brian this week.
I've been watching a lot of Pose.
So
Well, look.
it's called
I'm
one
not
of the
judging.
girls,
I'm
but
just saying. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Sanji has always been one of the girls. He's the only one that bathes daily, like the girls. He
Oh, I forgot
Has
about that.
that's
a
SBS.
fine appreciation for food and finer things and clothing.
I mean, you really should. You sail from port to port. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And you smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
Speaking of someone who loves the finer things, Ed, you want to start out with Blackbeard on the front page here?
Sure. We start out continuing the confrontation with Luffy and Blackbeard at Impel Down, and he says, "The first meeting, I soon found out that you were the one who defeated that former warlord of the sea crocodile over there, Straw Hat Luffy." And
I
Crocodile
love how
is like,
Crocodile's like, you're talking about me?
yeah, not happy about it. Just dots. I wanted to become one of the 7 warlords, so I figured the best way to show the government that I was the man for the job was to bring them your head. And just ellipses from Luffy. He's very serious. This is very serious, Luffy. So we get a little flashback. He says, "I'm gonna go kill Straw Hat Luffy at Water 7." This is on Bonnero Island, chapter 3, or it's episode 325, I think, right? I'll
I
present
don't
him to
remember
the
off the top of my head, but it was a good episode.
yeah. I'll present him to the government as a gift. And Ace says, "That's another reason not to let you run loose. He's my brother. But fate protected you. Ace had been chasing me because I committed a terrible crime aboard Whitebeard's ship. And by curious coincidence, he was your brother. As I said I was going to kill you, he was unable to turn back. You see, if he let us go, not only would he defile the name of Whitebeard, his own brother would be killed." And Ogre continues, "There's no such thing as coincidence. There's only fate."
God,
In other
he's
words,
he's so freaking poetic, Von Ogre.
yes, yes, you're a very lucky man. Fuck you. And Lafitte is like, "Now that the captain has successfully become one of the 7 warlords, he doesn't need your head anymore." Your brother fought bravely.
You should just have
so we-
Ed do his one-act play of all of the Blackbeard
every member of the Blackbeard Pirates gets a line.
Van
Yeah.
Auger is one of those dudes who they saw the movie Donnie Darko when they were a teenager, and they never watched another movie ever again.
No, Von Ogre's straight up from Baron Munchausen.
No, I know,
Purple.
yeah.
Yeah.
All of the Blackbeard, the OG Blackbeard pirates are for sure.
No, I just mean in terms of his like mentality and
Oh, I get you.
Well, maybe the movie Donnie Darko exists in that universe, in the Baron Munchausen universe.
Why not?
Yeah, I like it. Brian.
So Blackbeard continues, "You better remember to thank Ace at his grave. If he hadn't shown up, you'd be dead now." And then Luffy activates Gear 2, and he's like, "Then why don't you try me now?" And then, like, in a red-hot panel of fire and fury, Luffy whams
Don't call it that.
Blackbeard. Yeah, fire. Oh, yeah, sorry. Luffy whams Blackbeard right into his fat gut and sends him like contorting his body and flying towards the panel with all this like smoke and explosion and like what looks
And
like
speed
blood,
lines.
but yeah, very much speed lines. But it looks like blood. It's obviously blood, but it also kind of like forms nicely with like Blackbeard's hair. And then in the following shot, like Blackbeard is still reeling from this attack and crashes into the back wall of Impel Down, and his crew members turn and go, "Captain!" to catch up to the.
To be fair, that's the most concerned Van Ogre ever looks.
Yeah, I mean, think about how powerful this hit is. I mean, this is like their first confrontation, definitely the first time they've ever like hit each other. Like they nearly came to blows on Jaya, but it didn't happen.
Well, I mean, that cherry pie was delicious.
No, that cherry pie was awful.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, but Blackbeard's like his head is streaming blood, and he's like, "Ah!" And Luffy with a flip appears right over Blackbeard, preparing another jet pistol. He's like, I won't let them kill Ace, and then come Jet, and then and another. Oh, what's funny about this, and now that Grant's on, I can talk about like the visual symmetry in One Piece.
Wait, you don't normally talk about this?
Well, like I got another connoisseur who will appreciate it.
Oh, okay.
The finer things.
Yeah, so you have like Luffy with his looks like his left hand forward, and you get a cut off of most of his face with his hand filling the frame. And then the 2 panels later, Blackbeard's doing the exact same thing with his right hand, filling most of the frame and cutting out most of his face in a black vortex that sucks Luffy in and catches him. I love that shot of Blackbeard right there in that panel.
Yeah.
Where he's hunkered down and his face is in his chest.
Yeah, it's
like
just like the way he does Blackbeard's chin specifically on that. I really love that little meaty chin.
The texture there with the smoke coming off Luffy versus the spiraling vortex is really appealing.
Which of course draws the eye in both to Blackbeard and to Luffy, which is the central to that panel.
Yeah, and this time when he shows up in Impel Down is when you start to notice that his beard is getting longer as the series goes on.
Yep. Because
he's also getting larger.
Okay, Steve.
We go to the next panel to get Interrobang Jinbei going, and Von Clay cries out for his boy, says, Straw Boy! And Luffy is like, huh? As Blackbeard gorilla presses him with one hand, crashing down to the ground. And Crocodile says, blood? Isn't he made of rubber? Doesn't he have like rubber blood or something? or is he syrup? At least? Yeah, is he at least made out of that corn syrup inside Stretch Armstrong's? What's going on here?
I love how Crocodile should just be the person who like also is able to make commentary from the real world. Just super dry humor. Anyway, go ahead.
But even Luffy's blood gets its own panel. Gets its own time to shine. And then Luffy just yells out as that blood goes coughing up into the air. But he immediately gets back up with foot because he's gear second gear. He's super fast. And I think Blackbeard just prepares once again as Luffy launches in for another attack. Blackbeard's hand gets all black vortexy, but then Jinbei, in the Doom, stops Luffy right in his path. And you kind of forget how large Jinbei is. Like he's huge compared to Luffy right there.
He can be as large as the scene requires.
That's Muppet size.
Put this. He's like the size of the genie. When you think about it, he's large, blue. Basically,
voiced by Robin Williams. Yes, we all know.
Yeah.
Being an Impel Down gives you such a crick in the neck.
Whoa.
Robert Williams. I thought he was Will Smith now.
Oh God.
Isn't that canon?
Well, it's either he's whoa, slow down there, Luffy. Going too fast. Or it could be ha, Luffy, you gotta stop charging after Blackbeard. Your mama told you better than that.
Don't put Luffy's mother.
And then just like another Disney character, Lumiere, he says you have to control your temper. He's like, remember what you're here for. And a really cool panel of just a close-up of Luffy as like the steam from second gear comes out of his gritted teeth. He is pissed, and Blackbeard, and that's pretty much the look on Blackbeard's face. Like, whoa, he's pissed. And then Jinbei, eyes turning towards Blackbeard. Look at the exceptionally Muppety. He was such a Muppet back in the day. He says that man has always been a mystery to me since first time I saw him aboard Whitebeard's ship. I was like, I don't know where the boy gets it, but right now he has the power to defeat even Ace, which he did.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
I think it's really funny that like Blackbeard's got this look on his face, like, oh, if I didn't have this power, I would get the shit kicked out of me.
Yeah. To be fair, that's perpetually Blackbeard's face. Because part of his power, as we see here, is that he has to take a punch before he could give it. That's at least that. And Jinbei continues saying, "Don't waste your time and energy fighting him. Don't let your emotions get the best of you. It's not going to help you rescue Ace." And Luffy is breathing, as one does. And Blackbeard looks back. You're stronger than I thought. And your hockey is stronger than the last time I saw you. Foreshadowing. And meanwhile, Crocodile, ominously perched over a rock, says, you're Blackbeard, right? I heard some no-name pirate took my place. But this is indeed strange. You should have been summoned to Navy headquarters, and yet you were here before me. Obviously forfeiting the title of Warlord of the Sea by coming here. And Blackbeard explains that, yes, everything's going according to plan. Bumps along the way, but whatever. There is no reason I should tell you about all of this, right, Mr. Crocodile? And unlike the audience, he is saying, yeah, I don't really care. Yeah, which I remember reading this and being like, come on, just ask him some more questions. Also, Blackbeard, the opposite type of villain is Crocodile, who used to just go on and on and on about his plans, if I recall correctly. Blackbeard saying, yeah, I see you don't mince words. Fun little standoff between two villains there. Meanwhile, the Okamas are saying, Magellan's coming. And we see an explosion from behind the group there. Everyone realizing that Warden Magellan is on his way and that they are therefore all doomed and should run for level 3. And Blackbeard is like, so he's finally here. And you see one of the random prisoners running there being engulfed by one of the Hydra heads in a pretty cool panel there. Sam?
Yeah, we turn the page and we have some of the jailers shouting, Warden Magellan, he's come at last. And we have a panel of Hannibal just completely knocked out. He is gone. And we have Ivankov in lady form saying... He made his great
speech earlier. He should be fine.
Ivankov is saying, this is bad. Straw Hat Boy, hurry up and go. If you get hit by Magellan's poison again, nothing can save you. Some people are shouting, go up the stairs to level 3. The bazooka troops are wiped out. The path is clear. And we have Jinbei here on the bottom of the page saying, lucky for us, they destroyed the defenses on the stairway. And Blackbeard is laughing to himself. Ha 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 ha! Yes! This fracas is making my job a lot easier. And the jailer beast is up again. It's the Minotaur this time. And Bunkley, his eyes are popping out. His tongue is all wavy. Zang. What? I thought we already beat it. And Crocodile's looking a little nervous, but he's saying they won't stay down for long. They all have devil fruit powers. They're awakened zone types. Their greatest strengths are their toughness and recovery speed. And Bunkley is is this Mr. One who's saying that's a devil fruit power too?
I think that's Mr. 2. Yeah.
Well, because the tail of the word bubble is like curving around Mr. 2 to get to Mr. 1, I think.
Yeah, right. Mr. 1 doesn't talk.
He's got the interrobang. I don't think Mr. 1 really yells.
Exclaims, ever. Yeah. So we have the beasts. They're all knocked out.
I was going to say, can you name each of these guys? That would be a good...
I don't remember any of them.
Bebop, Rocksteady.
They're just Mino. It's Mino Zebra, Mino Rhinoceros, and Mino Koala.
Yes.
The Mino Koala, as we've determined, creepiest.
Right.
Yes.
If you don't hurry, the other ones will get back up too. What? But we have an even bigger problem to worry about. The warden of these hells will be here soon.
Grant, what happens next?
Now it's my turn. So, Warden Magellan running up the steps. Warden Magellan, Blackbeard has appeared at the stairway to level 3. I'm going to do my best to act out Magellan here. I thought Shiryu was going to deal with Blackbeard. Did he get defeated already? This is the monitor room. What is it? We have a shot of the monitor room with lots of goons screaming and shouting, "We have trouble! Video receiver transponder snail has been destroyed! We've lost all our video feeds, and all communications with Navy headquarters and other government facilities have been severed." He's very upset. We're cut off.
I like how Magellan sounds like he's holding in a fart, because that is accurate.
He's got to. It's all building up in there, the pressure. We're cut off. Hey, what happened over there? Who did that? And then we get Shiryu showing up, just looking so cool, just looking great. Body's falling. He says, "Don't tattle. You'll make Magellan come over here." He gets a little smirk bubble with the close up. Communications are, we're back at the top of the page here. Magellan's still running and towering over the goons. "Send someone to confirm what's happening there. This is bad. If Blackbeard has reached this level, then he must have crashed through the gate on level 2. Nothing is going our way. How could a single intruder spark all this mayhem?" Clearly, Magellan does not realize he's talking about a main character of the manga here. Flashy, 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 flashy. We go down to level 2, and Buggy and Mr. 3 are just having a good old time. This is Elvis dancing in the prisons, right? We're doing some Jailhouse Rock here. They're just having a blast. Laughing.
Oh, Mr. 3, why don't you show me that little thing you do again?
Throwing my arms off. Yahoo! We're the lucky Flashmen. Come on, guys, on to level 1, and we'll keep going until we reach freedom. Yeah, he's the luckiest man alive. Our savior, Captain Buggy D. Clown. Everyone's so excited this year.
Grant really got how we do this really quickly.
This is
silly. Oh, yes.
Alex.
Meanwhile, we're back with Luffy and Blackbeard. Luffy, of course, proclaims that he's going to rescue Ace no matter what. And Blackbeard responds aptly,
"I won't say you're wasting your time. Nothing's impossible in this world."
And as they pass each other in the night, Blackbeard, of course, mentions,
"Sky Island existed, didn't it?"
And we have a little flashback panel of when they first met in Jaya, when he says that the age of pirate dreams is over. That was our very first real glimpse into who Blackbeard is, and one of his greatest lines. And he mentions that
It's the same with the One Piece. It definitely exists. Just you wait and see.
As he throws up his touchdown pose with a whoop as the other prisoners are running away from Magellan, he is sauntering towards Magellan.
Just to be clear, Blackbeard's walking into the prison. Luffy's walking out.
Yes. Yeah. He's going the opposite way that he should be going. What's the deal with that? So we have a full-on shot of the Blackbeard pirates with a doom, as Blackbeard exclaims,
"In a few short hours, we're gonna put on a show that will shake the world."
Alex just does that laugh all the time.
Well done.
Ignore him.
Yes. Ignore him, Luffy-kun. Jinbei, of course, gives Luffy all the best advice. Luffy can't take his eyes away, and Crocodile doesn't seem to give a shit.
He never does.
What the hell is that?
Bon is of course, worried about everything that's happening, and Inazuma is very focused. And hey, so is Mr. One. Those two should hang out. And
they are right now.
Yes. Eva is looking cheerful as usual. "Keep going," she says. "On to level 3," as the Newkama and the prisoners make their way up another level.
And the next page, he goes, "Warden, send help." Sadie.
Of course, I got this page.
Ivankov did this to me. This is insulting. Life isn't worth living if I'm not the one inflicting the pain. Get her down. Yeah. Yes, sir. So Magellan he's just stunned, and we get this beautiful single panel, stark contrast. Blackbeard crew confronting Magellan, big white space area, and the gate and the spikes and everything. So you are Magellan. You must be Blackbeard. That's right. Hydra.
It was Kobe.
Message.
Like message.
Gloop.
It's totally like a high new moment.
I really hope that that's
how.
exactly how that actually happened. It's just it wasn't dramatic and gradual. It's just like, now I got you.
Magellan, shoot the gloop. Shoot it.
Gloop. That'd be great if that's Magellan.
Nothing but-
Instead
nothing but
of
gloop.
saying Hydra, he just yells Gloop. Hydra Gloop Glorp.
Oh God. So
will
we've
not
got
be
into the
episode.
gloop glor part of our podcast. Steve,
Happens a
finish
lot.
us here.
So Magellan gloops, and now the Blackbeard pirates are blooping and blorping.
They've been glooped and gleeped.
It's like, as we get this really cool like effect of just like Magellan's poison now covering them, and you get like these really great this really great line work of just like the black within like just like the filling in the black within the lines of like the poison outlines. And Blackbeard takes a second and then yells, it burns, as you've stepped into his lair, Magellan's lair. You shouldn't have, as Blackbeard with hands on his head yelling to the ceiling. I'd like to think Lafitte kind of just like slipped and fell, like, and just fell. It's great. And Magellan's is like, I don't have time for this shit.
Oh my God, that's literally what he says.
Like, who the hell are you? Like, what is this?
I'm a busy
poison?
Satan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
His
he walks up to-
Clorox fruit, apparently.
This is gonna sting a little. But, he walks upon Hannibal, who's out cold. He says, Hannibal, it's like, you were holding them back for so long. And we know the history of Hannibal and Magellan in the workplace. He's clearly Starscream to Magellan's Megatron. And he says, I'll take care of the rest. You better not die.
I do love in the background this entire time, Blackbeard is just yelling at the top of his lungs.
I'm burning really bad. Can someone help? You
The
shot
goggles, they
me.
do nothing.
Perfect.
Even says Z-ha-ha, the goggles. I'm sorry, it's all lining up right now.
Oh, God.
See, goggles do nothing.
Perfect. But yeah, he says, I'll take care of the rest. You better not die. He says, you're the only one fit to succeed me, which is huge. This is big for something to say to freaking Starscream here.
Yeah. This is bad comedy.
This part actually made me really emotional when I first read it. I was like, "Aw, the little upstart bastard got his praise."
He works so hard at being such a little douche.
Oh, I mean, it's not like he heard it.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. Yeah.
His
But at
ears are
least,
packed
like-
with gauze.
But at least you know it's there, and we know.
Giving you diarrhea of the heart.
Oh my
But
God.
nice one, Ed.
Oh,
Ed, I heard that one. But Tump, he walks a little bit further, looks around, and I think he's looking over to the stairwell, and these guys are coming up, and they're like, he yells out for Straw Hat, and these guys are a little further ahead. They're like, whoa, who's that? Was that Magellan? And Luffy looks back. It's like, it's the poison guy, and he says, so you shall not pass the front gate of this building.
yeah,
And
that's the chapter.
woo is
Yeah.
the sound effect there.
And
He's
it's
like-
followed by 2 more woos and a yay.
No.
The poison boy come to get you. Did I? Sorry.
So that's chapter 544. Thoughts on this chapter, Grant?
I mean, Magellan continues to impress. I mean, he has to be the warden for this horrible place full of all the worst people. So just seeing him sort of one-shot a whole team of deadly pirates is always good stuff. I just love the visual for the Gloop Hydra. It's really one of my favorite things. I mean, obviously, black and white line art can make it difficult to do different textures and things like that. But the way Oda plays around with, like, I think that was my pick for this chapter was the one where it's like Gloop chomping Blackbeard's pirates, but just, I don't know, the way he does the shine effect with the really stark line differences and stuff is really, really good there. And I just like seeing all the chaos and the madness of everything breaking down. So really good, fun chapter, and it seems like big things are happening, and I can't wait to see more.
Yeah. Don't worry, the chaos continues, as I'm sure you could assume.
Right.
It doesn't just end here. We've talked on the show, I think, that Magellan is this kind of underrated villain, I think, generally. I really enjoyed your praise of him as the Diarrhea Man. I forget exactly. Or the most relatable villain is that he's a villain that needs to use the restroom. Forget, something along those lines. Does anyone else have any thoughts? I mean, I'm not going to ask for predictions.
Yeah, it's funny you did mention that because you don't see any other villain going to the bathroom except for Lex Luthor in that one episode of Justice League Unlimited.
That classic episode.
Yeah.
Which One Piece villains wash their hands?
Ooh, that is a great question.
That's a good yeah.
Crocodile.
Because they're evil.
You just added an hour to the podcast, honestly.
Yeah, I think Crocodile definitely does wash his hands.
Blackbeard doesn't wash his hands.
No way.
Crocodile does. Magellan
He washes his hand.
Rob Lucci only does after he does a finger pistol.
Oh.
Yeah,
To his
washes
ass?
with his tongue.
Sure, why not?
Is that like instead of a bidet? Like, I don't understand.
Captain Kuro does not, because otherwise he'd cut his face with his poopy hands.
I imagine Kaku does wash his hands, but he doesn't dry them. He just starts doing like that jumping parkour and air dries them across the town. So
Perfect.
Would you consider Lucci a blade-licking thief, even though he only licks his finger?
I would say no. He's very clearly he's close relative though as a Nanto Seiken user. So all the CP9 crew use Nanto Seiken. So they're close relatives, but they're slightly too powerful.
So we're gonna do a lightning round with you for our Piece Together segment in a moment. Any final thoughts on 544? No. Sounds like no.
Good chapter.
I mean, it's great.
So we're gonna jump ahead a few hundred chapters to 947. So around 400 chapters. And then we'll return with some Piece Together, and Grant will leave us in that segment. So why don't we move on? This is the Manga Recap for chapter 947, Queen's Gamble. You could read this chapter and every chapter every week, the same time it comes out in Japan, at shonenjump.viz.com and on Manga Plus at mangaplus.shueisha.co.jp. So let's get into it, Ed. What's happening on the front here?
Well, it's a request. Brooke conducting a chorus of seagulls on the deck of the Sunny by Noda Skywalker. Our
Skywalker.
Twitter friend, Noda Skywalker.
Yeah, we didn't get to meet him, but maybe next time. Yeah, so...
There's going to be a next time? Please say yes.
So we
Is it
see...
soon?
We see here Oda snuck in the cat from Alabasta in the background, it looks like.
Sea cat.
Yeah, Catafish.
Yeah, I always like it when he reverts back to Gentleman Skeleton Brook as opposed to Skull King.
Yeah.
I agree. It's just a much better look for him.
Yeah.
It's just a hat change, guys.
No, it isn't.
Well, and his pants and his like boa
And his whole face just has a different sort of
And it's like-
flow to it.
It's a cravat.
class.
it's
Pure
like
class.
it's like two aesthetics versus like four aesthetics in
No,
one
I like
design.
I like Bootsy Collins, Brooke.
Well, not all the time.
I mean, they're both fine. I think what I just like about this cover page, first of all, it's really great. The composition's wonderful. And I just like how the seagulls kind of just they form like a contour around Brooke.
Well, they form a
And I like-
C like it's an actual orchestra. Like, you've seen how an orchestra sits in the orchestra hall on the stage?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they kind of look like that.
But what I love too is Oda having fun with Brook's silhouette here is this is a view from him from the side, so he is just a stick.
Yeah.
You can only see one leg.
Yeah.
Hey, look,
and
a
it's
seagull.
great.
A lot less ink. I'll say that.
But like, yeah, he could have like drawn like another leg there to show a little more depth. But the fact that, yeah, like this is Brook. He is a walking, talking skeleton, and skeletons don't got a lot of meat on them bones. I like the choice here. It's fantastic.
And
okay. he's in Luffy's special spot.
Yeah, how dare he? Ed, what's going on the front page here?
First page, we start in medias res of a flashback, and we are at the human auction at Tsubauti, and you see we saw how the slaves' colors.
Are we doing another classic manga recap?
I think it's really dangerous. But Kami, she's so scared as the collar beeps, and Rayleigh says, "It's okay, be calm." And it beeps and beeps, and he rips it apart, crunches it, and throws it away. Kami is saved, and Rayleigh gives like a shade-eating grin. He's like, "Look at that."
For those who don't remember, in the original chapter, we do not see Rayleigh's hockeyed arm gripping and crushing the collar.
He looks so cool.
Check that there wasn't any. I mean, I know Oda likes to redraw this stuff, but it's so weird to dedicate an entire page to a flashback of something we've seen before like this.
Yeah, this is a lot of flashback for One Piece. You usually don't get this much.
It's a lot of flashback for something we've already seen in the manga.
But it's because of the detailing of the action so critical. Right. Like him holding Kami's collar and then the quick rip. It's just like we get that extra panel for context.
I think it's neat that the assistants got to draw the human auction. Probably something that they grew up reading.
Oh, jeez.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Look how fast Rayleigh's arm is moving, and like there's a snap at the end of it.
Snap.
Mm-hmm. So we get that was it. Luffy's thinking, I just did the same thing I saw Rayleigh do back then. I was so desperate. I don't remember how I did it. So he's freaking out a little bit, and Kyo says, "Straw Hat Fellow, the power you just exhibited is already beyond any application of Ryuo I can teach you, which means you must be able to stop her. Deflect that monstrously powerful fist and save both of our lives." As he's doing the Admiral Macarena as Big Mom is bearing down on him. She looks awesome and terrifying in this panel right here. That's that's great. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Steve.
All right. Then on our following page, the prison guard's like, "Is he gonna stop the blow? That's impossible. Is he crazy?" Luffy says, "Rather than clenching up, I'll let the hockey flow." Because Luffy's just trying to get the glow. Because when you got the glow, the glow. Everybody know they got the glow. And Hio says,
"Is Luffy the last dragon? Is that what you're telling me?" Yeah.
Yes.
Got it.
And he's about to show Nuff Big Mom up. Ooh, man. Check your local drugstores for that DVD. It's probably $3. And Hio says, "I know you can do it." And Luffy says, "Let the hockey flow into my hands," as we see some sort of hockey glow. Yeah, he's got the glow. He's like, yeah. And then Big Mom comes in with a big palm, and he pretty much says, come at me." And
hey, Steve.
Yes.
Steve, what did the 5 fingers say to the face? There you go.
That was weeks ago. But yeah, Big Mom is like slaps comically Luffy and Hio right into the sky. They eat perfect sell to Mr. Satan right into a cliff as they go crashing in.
I laughed so hard at this. This is the hardest I've laughed. Yeah.
Amazing gag. And the guards, the stand-in audience are just like, huh? And oh god, what's her name again? Okiku, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Okiku's like, oh, so yells out to Luffy Taro, and Chopper is aghast saying, "Luffy!" And they are
Squiggy.
They are wedged perfectly into the wall. Twick, they're twitching. And the rest of the guards are like, we warned you. God.
Sam.
Yes. And we turn the page, and Luffy's pulling his head out of the wall. Whoa! Gramps, I'm so sorry, it didn't work. And he's like trying to pull Hyo out, and Hyo's body is just stretching. Is that his neck? Is his neck just that thick? Don't die on me, Gramps. So Hyo is saying, "Oh, but you did guard with Ryu or Ryu. I can't say it.
Ryuo?
Ryuo.
Ryuo?
It'd just be Rio.
No, it's
It's-
you.
no,
It's
Ryu.
Four letters.
Ryu.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, my mistake. I thought the O came before the U. You're good.
Big Mom is surprised he's still alive. So even friendly old Olin is fighting with the intent to kill.
Well, he took the Oshiroko that belonged to
Yeah.
her and everyone else too.
That was everyone's very sticky, weird dessert that they were supposed to eat, and
I
now
love
none of
the-
them get any.
I
No,
love
that's
the
what I
writing
call
of
a
that.
sticky situation.
He must pay for what he did, eating the Oshiroko. That belongs to me and everyone else. And Hyo
But
is
mostly me.
is coughing. He's dying in Luffy's arms. All that I can teach you of the Ryo, or what you call hockey, is that which covers the outside. Stop talking or you'll die. But Hyo keeps talking. It can be used for defense, like invisible armor, or it could be converted to offensive use to great effect, basically demonstrating kind of what we already know about hockey. But when you go one level beyond that, the hockey you wield can penetrate the enemy's interior and destroy them from the inside, thus making it much more powerful.
And I
Those
call it
steel collars.
Super Saiyan 2.
You could say that this is to go even further beyond.
Right. Those steel collars were destroyed from the inside by your hockey. You can already do it. You already know how to infuse yourself with outward hockey, but to do it. Oh, but you do it unconsciously. And then Hyo
Then-
passes out. He dies.
then
and
I
moves
am a
on to the great
Jedi.
Beyond. Yeah.
Totally
he's
dies.
dying like Yoda. No, actually, this moment is like the old Kai, when the old Kai gives Goku his life.
Or Lao G.
So, would Hyo also, like, instead of saying Luke, he'd be like, Fee.
Yeah. It's not out there.
Luffy's in a lot of emotional pain right now. He's shouting Gramps, and Big Mom is coming in with another punch. You're gonna pay! And Luffy jumps out of the way, and Hyo's back on his feet. Best of luck, Straw Hat Pillow.
This is,
Okay,
I
it's very funny.
love this gag so much. It's so funny. He keeps dying. He does like 3 times in this page.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's really funny. And the Yoda thing just adds a whole other. Anyway, we go to the Prison Ironworks factory in Udon, who asks, why can't we make contact with anyone? And some guy's like, the problem is the boss Smail has just up and vanished. Obviously, that is what that guy sounds
What do you
like.
want me to do here? If it vanishes, it's not here.
I only do like 3 voices. Anyway, and someone's saying that's bad enough on its own, but what's causing all that rumbling? And we get a zoom in on a prisoner who looks pretty vicious here. Now, I thought it was Kawamatsu only because he kind of has, isn't it like kind of like Kappa looking thing at the top of his head? Or am I
What? No.
completely wrong? No, I'm
No,
just
not at
completely
all.
wrong.
Yeah, I think
this
we're
is-
confused because his hat is a little weird, but he
Yeah,
doesn't have the same build as Kawamatsu.
This is actually a silhouette from a previous chapter when Hyo was talking about some of the other Yakuza bosses that are trapped in Udon.
Interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, if
okay.
you notice his long ponytail, that's
Oh, yeah.
sort of indicative of the silhouette we saw of Denjiro, the only Akazaya 9 member we haven't met yet.
Yep. Good job. Anyway, we notice that Big Mom is swinging around a giant. I thought that was wood, but that looks kind of like a steel beam with nails in it.
That's what I said.
Yeah. And she is just going to town, and Luffy is flying out of the page right into the reader's lap. It looks like that volume 54 cover, I think it is, or 53, where Luffy was kind of flying out of the prison. Anyway, cool. That's a cool panel. Everyone else is shocked on the top of the next page there. That is Big Mom flying around Udon. And smashing through the gate of the ironworks where the smelter is. The Helter Smelter. Anyway, it's all out pandemonium here. And they're trying to think of, like, what can we do if Queen can't stop her? There's no way the rest of us can do anything. And you hear someone saying, Wano is Kaido's turf. And, Babanuki looks over and notices, Master Queen has risen from the dead. Everyone's coming back to life in this chapter. And Queen says that hag is not going to get away with it, but I have a plan. It's a very intricate plan, and we'll only have one chance, so listen up. It will involve a lot of details. Anyway, go ahead, Brian.
Does Queen have a voice? Because I don't know. I can't think of anything specific.
I think
We don't have her. We don't really.
Yeah.
It was Harvey Firestein at one point, but it's
know.
too much for
Yeah.
a character that is here a lot. So
Okay. See, Big Mom is like a wild boar. She's going to charge straight through Udon and make her way back around to us. And then we see a little map of Udon, and it just brings a little an arrow circling the prison, which is as straightforward as you can get. And then we're cutting through a couple of vignettes of the carnage that Luffy and Big Mom, Big Mom specifically, but Luffy being pursued by her, is causing, where she's taking that like girder nail and just plowing into towers, and the guards are running for their lives. I specifically like this little shot of like Luffy kind of like flying through the air with his arms and legs spread out in a typical Luffy pose.
Also in that picture, though, there's a was that a gift or one of the failed gifters? You can't stop laughing.
Oh yeah, Pleasure.
Pleasure, yeah,
Yeah, because he's got the single horn and he's laughing.
Mhm.
Yeah, good call. I didn't catch that. And then another shot of her like backhanding one of the other towers, and Luffy with a yee as he's running away from the carnage she's causing. It kind of looks like for a second Luffy might be turning the fight, but I think he's just still in pursuit. So we cut it wide to Udon as like the towers are falling and everything's on fire from the outside of the prison. Little quick panels to show time has passed, and then we see Queen again looking like a long-beaked Ninja Turtle. He goes, I think it's people talking to him. He's like, here she comes, Master Queen! And we see Queen overlooking his Brachiosaurus full form, overlooking Big Mom.
He looks like a weasel or a prairie dog or something.
You mean like a weasel from Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Like when he's standing on top of the cliff like that.
Yeah, he's just like, we're gonna leave Big Mom out to try. We see Big Mom coming through, smashing, and a tiny little Luffy running through the panel from overhead. And
that Roger Rabbit stuff really lends to last week's episode title, because if Big Mom was looking for Queen's queso, she'd be like, it's dip. Carry on.
God, I need to rewatch that movie. But we have a shot of Queen in the distance on top of the cliff face in his full form, and Big Mom smashing away at the bottom, and at the top, tiny little panel of Queen kind of like whoop, off the side of the cliff over Big Mom, and his cronies going like as they see Queen diving face first towards Big Mom.
It almost looks like
Ridiculous.
those. I feel like those videos of just like animals like jumping off of he looks so absurd jumping from that cliff in that.
No, he's like a
form.
little lemming. Specifically, like, we know how giant these characters are, but in this tiny panel, they look extra tiny.
Yeah, but he also looks kind of like a cat that's like jumping from the
Cat.
refrigerator.
It's the it's the sale video. Sale. That's it. You guys have seen that, right?
He's like, catch me, mommy. But we have like another small panel with Big Mom with the or Lynn saying like the Oshrico, and it's another steaming pot that is revealed empty, and her shocked and horrified face is hilarious.
There's no reason to put that in there other than just really disappointing her. Like, I mean, obviously to distract her here, but
it also
no. X marks the spot, man.
Exactly, it's a target. It's
this
spot
was
where she stops.
I get it. It was a trap.
It's all part of the plan.
I thought this was an intricate plan to just smash her on the head.
No, well, that's part of it.
This makes more sense.
You know that on these 2 pages, Queen doesn't have his facial hair.
Oh,
and
does he?
And
does
he
not
have
that?
He normally
have
does
in the last chapter.
Yes,
He does when he hits Big Mom, he has the mustache,
Yeah,
but not
It's
on
a
the pages
mistake.
before it.
Well,
See, that's why he looks like so much like a Ninja Turtles. And that's why that was.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot.
Volume,
I also
volume release.
Yeah. I also love how Queen's plan is basically like a gotta catch the Roadrunner type plan.
Bonk
Like
him on the head.
free
Very
bird
wily.
seed. Yeah, like
Although it works here, let's be honest.
Yeah,
It
just
does work. Yeah.
He's like a meteor just coming at her, and she even looks up at him while he's like coming down.
I'm gonna be honest. Everything on this page and that follows is just a Looney Tunes script. Like
it is.
it's like everything else is in like super fast motion, which we'll go through in a second. But it's
And
like
yeah. The feet
Go ahead.
sticking out of the mountain, like that's totally like these are it's this entire chapter is Looney Tunes, and I love
super
it.
Looney Tunes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm so here for it.
Yeah.
Um,
I think Alex, we're up to you.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's coming down like a meteor, and oh man, I love this panel so much, so fucking much. Here's One Piece, everybody. One Piece encapsulated into a fucking panel yet again. Queen, in his full ass Brachiosaurus form, jumped off a cliff and lands. His big, meaty, veiny self lands headfirst right smack dab onto Big Mom's head with a giant crunch as he lands his finisher, the Brachio Bomber. I can't. It's so good.
Yeah,
look
I
at his
got
little
her.
meaty.
Woo!
Look at his like little meaty feet.
Yeah, somebody on Twitter already pointed out that his mechanical arm is missing, which I'm sure Oda's going to do some massive corrections for this chapter with that missing, and also Queen's facial hair, which is also missing in another panel on this.
Yeah, they must have
other
really had
panels
to
here.
rush. They must have to really rush this out.
Yeah, but boy, was it great. Everybody is, of course, cheering. Yeah, he got her. Long live Queen, savior of Wano. And we have these really great panels of the reaction on Big Mom's face, having taken the full brunt of the Brachio Bomber with a her eyes have completely whited out. And we have a really a couple panels of Queen and Big Mom, and Mom has a little flash of the last thing that she remembers, and it was it's her children, Smoothie and Perospero and Daifuku and many others, saying "Mama, Mama," and with a gabink, her eyes open up and she goes "Ah," and she has a little inner monologue as Queen slowly falls to the wayside like a tree that had just been cut down by a lumberjack.
This is my favorite part. It's where she's having this whole inner monologue while he's slowly falling off of her.
Yeah, it's super, super great. This is why I love comics. She says, my head is killing me. What was I just doing? Oh, right, I fell into the sea and I got separated from the rest. And then I went to some dingy little village. Next page.
And Queen, and Big Mom vocalizes now out loud. It's like, that's right. I remember everything now. And Queen reverts back into his human form. He goes, wait, now what voice? Oh yeah, Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Feinstein. Wait, are you kidding me? Firestein. Sorry, wrong. Harvey.
Weinstein's a very different Harvey.
It's true. I don't want to do that guy's voice. Wait, are you kidding me? why didn't that knock that hag out? And then Big Mom with a fierce look in her face, like, "Huh? What's this? Why, you're Queen from Kaido's crew." And Queen, he kind of looks like Ivo Robotnik with like a mustache standing up on all ends, going like, ah, and his internal going, "I'm a goner. Nope. Forget this monster. She's not acting like she was before. What happened?" And then his goons, who are also grayed out instead of black and white, they're thinking like, "Aye!" And then as a whoa, and then someone thinking, "I'm gonna die," and then the last one, the biggest one, going like, and then in the final panel,
their fear literally blacks out their background.
Right, everything in the background's black, but they're like in lighter color. It's almost like they saw something so scary they shit that made them go white.
Yeah, exactly.
But the final panel of Big Mom, thud, just falls out, passes out in a blissful sleep, and Queen left in tears. He panics and goes, "Get out some 100% pure sea scones." Yeah, sorry.
Sea scones.
Sea scones. 100% sea scones.
Yeah. Get out some 100% pure sea prism stone cuffs and chains. Wrap it around her 100 times and give her 100 wild animal sedatives. He's like, "Yes, sir. Is the ship ready?" "You bet." And then they all like hurry up and bound Big Mom and go, "Leave only the bare minimum jailers. Everyone else on the ship. If this monster wakes up, we're all dead. You hear me? Dead." And then every precious second counts. Then someone goes, "Transport Big Mom to Onigashima. Double maximum security protocol." "Yes, sir." And then they're all like on a double ready time to catch a warlord. An emperor, which we've never seen before. Like last emperor we saw that even got subdued was Whitebeard. He died. So this is a big moment. This is a really big moment.
That's one way of subduing one.
Yeah, just headbutt with a Brachiosaurus.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and Queen continues to what's it, Babanuki?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He goes, as she's busted down every door in the place, lock down Udon with emergency gates, throw all the prisoners in cells, and get this place in order. Babanuki, I'm putting all of Udon under your command. And Babanuki goes, "Yes, sir, but I'm worried about one man in particular. Let's get going." And the Queen cuts him off.
Don't listen to him.
Yeah, that guy's not important.
I do want to mention before we go to the final page here, it's almost like a Star Trek-y thing that you could just name something like emergency gates and double maximum security protocol. Doesn't actually do anything extra for this situation.
Bounce a graviton particle beam off the main deflector dish.
Perfect. So add your fluent in Star Trek technobabble.
Yeah.
Alex, you want to finish this off?
And we have another shot of Queen's little his little Mario Kart that he was riding around on when we first saw him.
Thing so much. A dupa dupa, dupa dupa.
Yeah, a dupa dupa. A dupa dupa dupa. I would have killed for dupa dupa. And this time it's being carted off by boars that have Queen's little his little whatever he's got on his face. I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to. I don't know if it's a tattoo or his goggles, which do nothing.
Oda
apparently.
Oda is so good at drawing these stupid little animals that have one function.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's pretty great. And everybody is off to Onigashima. Rah, rah, let's go Onigashima. As a sleeping Big Mom is tied up with more chains than we've probably have ever seen in One Piece. I wonder if they will even hold. And they say, "Oh, load her on the ship, make it quick, set the sails." And we have some pretty cool panels of we haven't seen the ocean in a bit, and we have Queen. Queen has a massive galleon that is docked in this little cove.
Look at this cute little head.
It's a Brontosaurus.
It's a Brachiosaurus.
It's a really cool ship.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I imagine this all happening like fast forward on a VHS. with all the noises and stuff in the background, even
like a Keystone Cops kind of thing, like extra sped up in frames.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought you meant just like fast forward it. No, go past this part. In fact, never play this again. Yeah, so we got this really sweet shot. It's a really little panel, but it's a really cool shot of Queen's ship. I'm sure we'll find out the name for it in a Vivre card or something like that. But it's it's got a really huge brachiosaur masthead on it, and the middle appears to be like an air control tower. Like at the bottom, it's pretty neat. I really like the design of this ship a lot. It's armed to the teeth with cannons, and we see the Wano style waves splashing around it. So Queen has left along with Big Mom, and the gates are now closing. And Tama notices and tells Momo, "Oh, Momo, the gate's closing." And Momonosuke says, "Ah, yes, alas, if we did not agree to wait here for who? For who? Who do they agree to wait for? Well, you'll find out when we go back to Udon."
Wait, by the way, can't they just fit through the holes in that gate? They're tiny, and that gate is enormous.
Well, it's also they say but don't they say let's go? What is that? Momo and Tama talking, or
maybe.
I think
I don't.
so.
Yeah, that's them. It's Tama
tell
the
her.
one who goes, "Let's go."
Tama probably just goes under the gate, and Momo's
because Momo's being a little bit of a coward here. He's like, we were told to wait here, so we probably shouldn't go in, even though it would be best for us to go in.
That's what Luffy hated about Momo.
Yeah, that's right. So he's getting a little lesson. You can tell because then Oda does the little skinny panels to indicate that time is passing, or we're doing a fade out or a George Lucas style wipe, perhaps. Back to Udon. The Udon is sort of in shambles at this point, and Babanuki says, "Gate check. All closed, sir. Snail check. Still not operational. Udon seems to be completely isolated. And if something happens, we have no way of alerting anyone." And then, of course, Luffy is doing his Goku stretches, and he says, "So I get to fight all I want." And Babanuki says, "What? Who said that?" And Luffy laments that it won't be quite as exciting without Big Mom or Balloon Man, and I'm inclined to agree. However, Babanuki says, "Oh, right, he's still free." And Luffy proclaims that he's always been free. And now this place is mine, as he cracks his knuckles. A Luffy pose that we've seen time and time and again.
That's awesome.
Yeah, except but now he's way more built.
Yeah, I love how his top knot is going through the panel, by the way.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
And we end the chapter with a dome.
And we return next week on July 7th. So, thoughts on this chapter? Let's start with Sam. What did you think?
Boy, a little all over the place from me because the Brachio Bomber is so good, but the kind of fallout of it is really disappointing to me. I don't I'll be sad if this is the end of the amnesia plot. I'm hoping when she comes to, maybe she's coming kind of fading in and out of amnesia from this point forward or something. But if this is all there is to that, that's not enough for me.
I mean, I think it's too early to say.
Right. And I don't know, just the things were going so crazy and getting so exciting with Big Mom and Queen and Luffy, and then for that side of it to just sort of get wrapped up, and for Queen to just not really care about Luffy anymore, and he's now completely focused on Big Mom, and it's
Big
obviously
Mom's a much bigger catch than Luffy.
Obvious, yeah, but it's also obvious that leaving Luffy to Babanuki is asking for trouble.
It's a choice. That's the choice you have to make because Big Mom is the bigger threat.
And Queen is look, we gotta neutralize. You gotta have priorities where you can, and yes, it'll probably bite them in the ass at the end. But I don't think I would have made a different decision here, in Queen's place. I mean, would you, Sam? Let's say you had to choose one of these two to tie up and take away.
Well, I mean, like I would have blown it up, like just from like story wise, I would have wanted it to like continue blowing up a little bit more before it wrapped up.
Well, in a true Looney Tunes style, it has to end, and usually a little too soon.
So yeah, I'm hoping that the upcoming meeting of Kaido and Big Mom, I'm hoping that's like really interesting. If we're kind of like splitting, we're leaving Luffy alone so quickly. But the Brachio Bomber, just like 10 out of 10, really amazing stuff. Not as like just the minutia of like the hockey and like what more armament can do. Like that's not as interesting to me. I don't know. Just like there's a lot that I was pretty whatever about in this chapter, but then that one thing that I really really loved.
Yeah. Okay. Brian.
The past couple of chapters have just been. I know I've mentioned this before in the podcast, but Wano's just comedy. This entire arc has just been complete over the top nonsense. I mean, what other series can you watch an giant old lady swing around a Brachiosaurus, and then in retaliation, that Brachiosaurus just did a dive bomb, head bomb, to knock sense back into her before she falls out and completely unconscious. One of the most powerful characters in the world. But I thought this chapter was enjoyable. Not my favorite, but like a lot of fun stuff in it. The one interesting thing about the hockey, it finally addresses a question I always had about the differences between how armament hockey operates. Because initially when we like especially pre-time skip, the armament hockey was always like a shield, and then after the time skip, Luffy and crew mostly used it always as like as more of an offensive thing, when like the fist or armaments or weapons turned black and then they would operate. And now like this is the first time Oda's actually given us another peek behind the curtain about how this specific power really operates and how it becomes more of a martial arts thing. But we were joking before with Hyo being Yoda, but it's also, we know Oda's a big fan of Star Wars, so now it's like how you use the Force is just as important as the Force itself existing. So I thought that was a nice little story build to how hockey operates in this world, because it's been a long-standing question I've kind of had, but it's never deterred enough from the story for me to like give much of a shit.
Alex.
Yeah, starting off, I want to say that I was surprised and also like really happy that Luffy didn't learn it that quickly and he got knocked away by Big Mom. If he had like subdued her, I kind of would have been a little disappointed, just because I still don't think that he's quite at that level. If he was to learn something like that quickly and get a grasp of it, it wouldn't like I don't think it would have as much weight as it would later on in this arc.
He was still able to partially deflect it, which was a very good comedic moment.
Yeah, I mean, like he managed to guard it, but he didn't like he didn't do what we thought.
If he was able to do anything against it, we wouldn't have had that awesome like joke.
Yeah, if there's
sticking in the wall like that.
I love that so much, with their feet sticking out. Like that's totally cartoonish, and it's like a testament to why I love One Piece so much. There's so many comedic elements when Hyoda is dying, and then he has to literally jump out of the way after Big Mom makes her attack on Luffy and him as well. And Brachio Bomber, what else can I say that I already said? It's fucking great. The Big Mom stuff is interesting to me. I do wonder about her. We didn't get to see her hat, right? We didn't get to see Napoleon after.
I think
he woke up.
Napoleon's been out the entire time.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to see a full real shot of it yet.
Yeah.
Oh, when she regains her memory, you mean?
Yeah.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I also wonder, like, what happens to like the homies when when she's got her devil fruit powers.
Elsewhere?
Yeah, like on Whole Cake or even Zeus. When she's got her she's got Sea Stone on her. Like, what's going to happen now? If that has any effect, I wonder. That's just like an overall big picture thing that I thought about.
I bet it's just not going to come up.
Probably not. It sounds like an SPS question, and it doesn't really matter, honestly, in the long run. I think the only thing that I was like, okay, was I guess the explanation of the Ryu O power. I wasn't exactly quite sure if I fully don't understand how it works. It's basically just like, oh yeah, this is like stronger hockey, except it like somehow managed to destroy it from the inside out. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. It seems like sort of a little bit of a half-baked explanation instead of just saying it's a much stronger punch. So
I mean, to
I
be
don't know.
fair, that's kind of hockey in general. It's
Yeah.
It's kind of I mean, of the powers in One Piece, it's a little bit more of like it's a supernatural thing that just it's
Anything and everything.
It's the force of One Piece. I mean, not to bring more Star Wars into it, but that's what it is.
I do like how this was a callback. This isn't like a completely new hockey thing. This is something that we've seen hundreds of chapters ago, which I think is really awesome.
Oda is really drilling that into your head. Like, I did this before. Hey.
Yeah.
Well, even like Luffy's pose to guard against Big Mom's attack is exactly what the admirals did during the war.
The Macarena pose.
Yeah, the Macarenas.
Yeah. So I'm on the side of Oda had thought of this way back when in some way. Probably not to this level of detail, but yeah.
I think the entirety of the Brachio Bomber though is my favorite thing, especially luring Big Mom over with free bird seed. Like, that is so fucking funny. I'm like this entire it's Looney Tunes. I love this. Like more of this, please. Great chapter. I can't wait to see Luffy struggle against Babanuki next chapter, and then get help from Denjiro and Kawamatsu in what I'm assuming is going to be a.
You really think he's going to struggle with Babanuki?
Probably not, but I think he might. I mean, look, you've got this guy, this ponytail guy, who I'm assuming is going to be Denjiro, and Kawamatsu is on the loose. We're gonna need them to do something. So maybe they'll, I don't know, help break everybody out of prison. I don't know.
You're stuck in here with me.
Well, the whole thing about Wano is that we're building up this huge army, so it seems like this is very conducive to doing that.
Yeah. On that note, I will cede my time to the next person then.
Steve, you have been ceded to.
Physical challenge. No. I mean, you guys have said so much already. I think this is one of the funniest chapters in Wano. There was this constant gags almost on each page. And I remember reading this, and I thought, like, wow, is this gonna be it? Is Luffy finally gonna get a hit on Big Mom, who looks fearsome, by the way, on the first spread of her with her fist coming down? She looks scary as hell. And I thought, wow, is this it? Finally, is Luffy truly gonna be on an Emperor level? And he gets smacked into the air. He just gets, and I thought that was hilarious. And then the rest of this chapter just proceeded to be like nonstop gags, like Hio pretending to die or pass out, and he's like, "Oh, well, best of luck to you," and then gets out of the way.
I actually want to go. I kind of there's a little bit of me that wants to sort of read internet comments after this chapter, like whatever, just to see people get pissed that Luffy didn't actually get to fight Big Mom.
Yeah, I know that's already there. It's like, man, what a letdown. I was like, it's a comedy, you jackasses.
You want to know what's not a letdown? Seeing a Brachiosaurus fly.
Well,
with
fall,
style.
Fall mostly.
Fall with style.
Yeah.
Well,
see, I didn't get my sumo. This is my beef.
Isn't that going to be next chapter?
Remember Human Jinbei, Sam? You got plenty of sumo.
Yeah, that was awesome sumo.
And what was it? Just like another great gag is the sound effect of her opening up the Oshiruko pot is empty. And just the face she makes, she goes from such delight to just absolute horror. And just like the stare down between, this is when Queen is falling off the cliff, and just the constant close-ups of each of them. I can just imagine them like just yelling, like even though they're not.
It's something I just noticed once I zoomed in on the panel where Queen's falling towards Big Mom. Big Mom actually like knocks over the Shryuku pot.
She chucks it.
Yeah, she just like, fuck this, and knocks it over.
It reminds me of some Frankie gags, right? Like in Water 7 when they're
flipping a table.
Exactly. Like just
where I keep my Oshiriko, if I had any.
Yeah.
And then just diving headfirst into a head-on-head collision with Big Mom. It's hysterical. And then the page that Brian covered, like Queen is kind of doing like an Eneru face here, but he used like some gray tone here. It almost looks like a thought, like a scene of someone thinking to themselves from like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Like the colors are all inverted and stuff. It looks really cool and different.
Even the onomatopoeia, the feels like the intense noise that always happens in JoJo.
Go.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, we've never seen anything like that before. I like 900 and some chapters in, and still like new techniques, and it's really cool.
This chapter's been drawn really well. The action is clear and looks great, and so many of the expressions are just so turned up to 11. It was a great chapter.
He remembered the mustaches.
Minus 5 stars.
So just to add a couple of things, I love when Queen is staring directly at the reader and saying, "Get her 100 wild animal sedatives." He's staring directly at you. Brachio Bomber's amazing. There's so many great jokes, as I mentioned already in this chapter. That you guys are pretty much all talked about everything at this point. So I think I'll just I have my reservations about hockey. Like I fear like over explaining it, as you said. But I love the jokes in this, like Yo playing dead and then getting up immediately, and Luffy getting slapped and sticking into the wall. Like it's a as we've said, it's a great chapter.
But Ed, how else are we supposed to know that it was the midichlorians that made the hockey strong all along?
Yeah.
My 100% least favorite thing about Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah. Well, it is what it is. Yeah, I think we got a little too much explanation at the start of this chapter, particularly with the hockey. I get why the whole flashback is there, because most readers aren't like us and insane. But it still felt like a full page plus dedicated to that felt a little overboard. There is a kind of DBZ element to the fact that he's able to project the hockey past him. Soon we're just going to be shooting blasts at each other, it feels like. That's just the next natural step here. So yeah, I'm a little torn about the power. I like new powers. I mean, I am a shonen fan, so to see evolutions in certain abilities is always fun, hence why I enjoy Gear 2, 3, 4, and so on. But at the same time, it feels like a little forced to have the black fist that Rayleigh has at the beginning.
Zach, they're called midichlorians. They're not called Little Force.
Jesus Christ. Just like the redrawn panel at the beginning did kind of take me out of it. But I want to say I love the hell out of this chapter. It definitely was one of the funniest ones in Wano, I think. I had Looney Tunes sound effects and music in the background as I was reading it without even like thinking about it, because it was so over the top. Now I understand some One Piece fans don't like One Piece for its comedy. But for those people, come on. What are you doing?
They're
No, but if action is your favorite thing in One Piece, I think this chapter still delivers. I mean, the Bronchio bomber is not just funny. I think it's also fun. And there's some really good action pieces here generally. I did the pacing of the end was bizarre. Not in a bad way, but in a super comical, odd way. It really did feel like everything was being fast forwarded.
It's almost like a Tex Avery gag where like all this overcomplicated stuff happens really quickly and the character like buzzes off into the horizon.
Exactly. Yeah. I really hope the anime, for the first time ever, makes things go quicker than they do in the chapter, because the whole art of this comedic moment is that it will go really quickly. It's like, okay, she passed out. We're taking advantage of the situation. We're going to get 100% pure C prism cuff chains. We're going to get wild sedatives. Let's do this. Come on, let's go. And they head out. And if they miss that opportunity, well, it would be expected, but sad. And I could say, I think the anime has a lot of potential coming up, so maybe. Yeah, but I think there's a lot of cool stuff that could happen on the horizon. I briefly mentioned, the army forming. It seems things seem to finally be coming together in Udon. And we've had a lot of buildup in Udon, so I am hoping that the buildup is worth it in the end. But I think it's a little early to say whether or not it has been. I also don't know whether or not to be disappointed by the amnesia stuff yet. So I'm going to hold off my opinions until a little later, let's say. Any other final thoughts on this chapter? Sounds like a no, so why don't we move on into the next segment?
This is the anime recap for episode 891, Climbing Up a Waterfall, a great journey through the land of Wano's Sea Zone. Title card this week begins at 2 minutes and 24 seconds. Feels good to be back on a regular anime recap. No,
Yeah, well, even still, there is some flashback in this episode.
Barely. It's not enough to make it. It's different than what we've been used to.
That's true. But can we come up with a better title than Land of Wano's Sea Zone? There's got to be a better way to say that.
Ed, welcome to the Sea Zone. It's
clunky.
It sounds like a laser tag place from the 90s. I'm gonna go to the Sea Zone. See, I'm already contributing so much.
Oh, and today we have Ed and Zach, obviously.
Hi.
Hey, Sam.
Hey.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I was gracious enough to let you on your own podcast.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to. I'm hoping to be on these way more often now.
This opening scene is with the Sunny sailing its way, and everyone's kind of chilling out on the ship. Chopper is doing his best to fix the Sunny. He's hammering some nails in. Basically, he's the backup Usopp, who's the backup Frankie.
Yeah, well, he does over there. So a couple times in this episode, I was thinking, "Where's Zoro?" Oh yeah, he's not there.
It's like Poochie, where someone has to mention him every so often, so we remember he's around.
Zoro does get mentioned in this episode.
He does. We could help Zoro and the rest.
Yeah.
You could tell Chopper, or you could tell it's like the third tier people fixing the ship, because the patchwork is even worse than Usopp's patchwork, or as far as I remember. But I like how that's included.
It doesn't even change into Gorilla Point to do the repairs. He's just in chibi form.
Yeah, a little tiny
exactly.
Chopper pounding away. So Nami is reading the newspaper about the Reverie. I always remembered liking this group shot in the manga where it pulls out and Luffy's eating his onigiri on the Sunny's head.
I didn't realize it makes sense he's eating something Japanese before we head to the Japanese place. I didn't put two and two to that in the manga. That's all I'm saying.
So now he's basically just explaining the general basics of what the Ryuga Kingdom is doing. Luffy applauds Shirahoshi for growing up and going to the surface and finding some courage. Nami turns the page and, hey, there's Vivi. And Sanji is a goober about her. And Nami beats him up.
Oh, we also get
Nami. Yeah, go ahead.
The bit with Chopper and seeing the picture, and like Brooke does panty jokes, and Sanji is all horny, and they cut up the newspaper, and it's a whole shtick.
Yeah, I like. There's a point where both Sanji and Brooke are knocked out unconscious, but like when Nami turns the page again, and now they're talking about Viola, like Sanji like scoots up butt first and like crawls his way back over. It's really funny.
I'm pretty sure.
Sorry, go ahead, Zach.
No, I just remember. I think Maddie pointed out the butt dance that Sanji does here because, of course, back when we did the manga. So now it's in full animated glory.
Yeah, it's very animated.
Well, they got the bit where Chopper and Sanji are cutting. They got the cutout pieces, and they won't give them back.
Yeah, Chopper's got his picture of Doctorine, and Sanji's got his picture of the ladies, and Nami is mad because she can't read the story about Big Mom and Kaido that was on the back.
Well, I like Sanji's bit about they. I bet they're all talking about me. They're actually all talking about Luffy, all the princesses that he knows.
Yeah, he still has
but
to
they're
put on that.
thinking about me.
So they're trying to figure out what the process is for getting into Wano now. Luffy has been trying to get a response on the snail phone, but nothing yet. The narrator calls Wano the mystery-filled country where the samurai swagger about, which I thought was a really funny
I don't know why,
choice.
But the silhouette and the whole kind of thing. I mean, obviously, it reminded me a little bit about that, like the first time we talked about the Seven Warlords in One Piece. But it also kind of like had a Yu Yu Hakusho vibe for some reason. I felt like,
sure,
and that was definitely just me. But I don't know, for whatever reason.
We get a couple minutes of like flashing back to Zoe and Luffy and Momonosuke having their moment where they're shaking hands and Momonosuke's crying and talking about how he wants to beat Kaido. As the flashback wraps up, this is when the octopus shows up. The mysterious shadowed out octopus is like climbing up on the side of the Sunny and sneaking his way onto the ship and just kind of hanging out in the group shots for a few scenes. And as they approach Wano, we know that they're entering Wano now because the waves are changing. They now look like ukiyo-e paintings.
It was a really cool effect, I thought. Yeah,
it looks like you watch Demon Slayer, Sam?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and some of his attacks, he has the water breathing that he does.
Yeah,
it's that wood print
similar
thing. Nami's got a bad feeling about this. She's remembering Kinemon warning her that Wano is very difficult to get into because it's just filled with bad weather on the outside. It's kind of like the calm belts almost, except just worse weather.
Except it looks cooler.
So now they notice the octopus, and the octopus has that that like rope that like some chefs put over their head or something, right?
Oh yeah, I don't know what that's called.
Yeah, like a headband.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
The music from this point forward is amazing. It's just like all classical Japanese, like taiko drums and shamisen, or what. I wish I knew more about how to describe what's going on in the music here.
I want to know if Kohei Tanaka is the one who did this music, and I want to know when this album is coming out.
I believe it is. It's just like classical Japanese music, the kind you hear in anime all the time, usually in like comedy scenes as a joke, but like here it just sounds great. Like it's awesome.
Yeah. It really takes you to it makes you feel you're like you were in a very different place. I think the music and the very different visual style that we get here
and
really help transport
There's
you.
a really great like variety of sounds, of like tones coming from this same kind of traditional Japanese music, where it's sometimes it's kind of building and it's ominous, and then once the action kicks in, it's like really like it pumps you up and it's very rhythmic.
I was pumped.
So that's the eye catch of the episode. We come back and they are encountering some giant koi fish.
Well, they do a bunch of puns. They do a lot of puns too.
Yeah, even I noticed the puns.
Oh, I didn't.
What was it? Sukhoi instead of
yeah.
Sugoi?
Oh yeah.
I heard
Kara
that.
was saying, Sukhoi instead of Sugoi, and it was stuff like that. Just lots of koi.
Yeah, they didn't know how to translate that. I noticed it said, "Oh, carp, oh, carp." I'm like, that's not what she's saying.
Well, it is, but that's
it is and it isn't. Yeah.
I like the offhand mention.
Or maybe
that
it was
they
crap. Maybe that's what the joke was there.
I like the offhand mention that they're freshwater fish, so they shouldn't be here.
Oh yeah,
they're giant and clearly fantastical.
I mean, I'll just say here, I think Nami kind of was the star of this episode, at least in comedic face faults, and
she
her
DBZ
somehow
teleports
dragging.
at one point to punch
I was gonna
Luffy.
say that. Yeah, they literally had the sound effect. It was really impressive. I had no idea she had that ability, and
she learned the 6 powers shave technique. So Luffy's asking Sanji if they're delicious, and Sanji's like, he's already off. He's coming up with recipe ideas for cooking the koi, and Carrot just mentions, "Oh, you should just eat the cultivated ones." Carrot's got a lot of like she's almost helpful, but she's just kind of not quite hitting the mark. And Chopper is reacting to her.
I thought all of these gags actually worked much better in the anime than they did in the manga here. I don't remember the Carrot reaction specifically. I guess you would appreciate, Sam. But,
I remember her getting like all sparkly-eyed
really
and excited for adventure and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's part of the crew, even if not officially.
That she is.
So Luffy hops onto the back of one of the carps, and he's determined to take it into Wano with them so that he can throw a banquet for the whole crew when they're together.
Zoro.
The music is getting really great. They reach a point where they basically enter a river part of the water area where the water is clear enough that they can see. It's like mountain water, where it's like clear and you can see the koi fish perfectly. Nami doesn't like that because they creep her out.
Zach, was that accurate? The clear water?
What do you mean accurate? You mean from the manga?
No, from the mountain we climbed.
Oh yeah, no, it was clear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We come up against a big raging waterfall. And
they do the interesting thing where they sort of pause on a still, like it's a piece of art. And
they do that a few times where they'll have stills that
probably
look
put
like
a lot of
wood
work
print
into
painted
it.
or like wood print art.
Mm-hmm.
We have the carp climbing the waterfall, akin to the legend of the carp swimming up a waterfall and becoming a dragon. We shift into a pretty distinct animation style. I wish I knew this guy's name. I think it's Yoshikazu Tomita. I think this is the same animator who did the Nami climb attack on Zoe scene, where it's just like super suggestive looking.
Yeah.
Chopper's like falling back because Luffy's grabbed onto two of the carps so that they can like lift them up with the Sunny. He's like wrapped his legs around the horn of the Sunny, and he's
Luffy. Like, is it because it's like fresh water that he doesn't get hurt as much by going into it? Like,
I think it depends on how much he's submerged.
I guess. Seems like he should have been submerged.
It's although sometimes fresh water I feel like does it to him too, so it's really confusing. I think it's just he needs to be able to be okay here.
If you're at the point where you have to swim, you're screwed.
Exactly.
So Chopper's like falling back. His cheeks have gotten stuck in like the rails of the Sunny. They make it up. They're alive, but there's a whirlpool, and Nami's asking Luffy to let go of the koi fish because they're pulling them further into the whirlpool, and Luffy's just like, no, this is our lunch. And then that's when she teleports to Luffy and punches him. And that's more or less the episode as they go down the drain. The last scene we see is Luffy sinking and dying. The end. The show's over.
Someone posted, since there's a new staff coming, that Luffy had to die to be reborn in the next episode.
Right, yeah. We get the next episode preview for the first episode of the new art style that they're doing, which is really exciting. I really love how it looks.
Yeah, I'm excited. This episode looked really, really nice, I thought. I mean, I've taken a bit of a break from the anime, but I thought all the parts... this was one of my favorite chapters of Wano, even though it's right before Wano, just because Oda was really able to, show off the kind of scenery there. And I thought the anime staff also looked like they were having a lot of fun showing all that off.
You also get that whole scene at the beginning with the crew having fun on the ship, which are always some of my favorite scenes.
Yeah. I don't know if they would have done this, but it would have been interesting if they could have had an episode where, like, Luffy drowns, and then when he wakes up at the end of the episode in Wano, like, the art style has changed within the episode.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
I don't know if they would do
that.
But
alas, apparently not.
I mean, they didn't do that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the art was kind of all over the place throughout the episode, but it's like a really interesting looking episode. And I feel like most people are getting that sense where it's like they're like stretching their legs, like getting ready for this new transition, and just the way that the colors looked, like it's much darker looking than normal. And part of that's just because it's an overcast area, but like something about the colors are more bold and kind of a deeper, sharper color versus the very lighthearted stuff that we've been seeing in the TV show since the time skip.
Yeah.
It's a little slow just because they have to make an entire episode just out of getting into Wano.
Half a chapter? Yeah, it's not even a full chapter.
But for the most part, pretty good. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
Music. Just.
Oh yeah.
Any other comments, you guys?
I'm excited for next week.
Yeah, I'm very excited for next week. And there's a new opening next week.
Oh, yeah.
By Kitadani, right? Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if they showed us what that was like sooner than later.
Well, we'll have a chance to talk about it. That's all I got.
Yeah. All right. I think we're ready to move on to the next segment then.
Sure, we could do that. This is the Piece Together segment, which is filled with nothing but gloop. So we're going to go through some Twitter questions for Grant, who has rejoined us here. Hey, Grant.
I'm back.
Yeah, it's as if he's
from
never
out
left.
of space.
So let's go through these quick. First from Dr. Simadoku, who has around 18 questions. What measures have you taken to stay unspoiled?
With my mighty gum disinterest in the series, that helped for a long time. I didn't care and didn't notice anything about One Piece beforehand. Since then, I basically just said, everyone please be nice to me and don't spoil me on anything. And then everyone on Twitter is like a roving pack of dogs. If anyone even so much as breathes a spoiler, they kind of get jumped. So I'm very appreciative of the gang of bodyguards that I have.
Yeah, I noticed you do have. I think Joe in particular, I see her being very defensive of you.
Yeah, which I very much appreciate. And
I'm not. Yeah,
guys, it's okay. That person didn't know, because sometimes people get caught up. Like random people who don't follow me just say, "Oh, hey, One Piece person, let me tell you about Big Billy Buckwild, who's a character who's 300 chapters later," and somebody be like, "Tell them about Big Billy Buckwild," and
how'd you know?
They didn't know. It's fine.
Simodoku also asked, what is the greatest surprise twist that you have seen in the manga up to this point? Positive or negative?
Laboon and Brooke, are you kidding me? I mean,
Yeah, baby.
I mean, I get narwhaled in the back like Julius Caesar. I mean, by that much emotion. I mean, come
I have
on.
so many episode titles already. So, also gonna go through these quick. First thing that pops into your head, Grant. Don't think about this. Favorites chapter.
The one where Robin says, "I want to live." I don't know what the number is, and bold of you to assume that I think.
Favorite cover page.
Favorite cover page. One of the spreads that had them all in sort of like Sengoku, like samurai kimonos. I really enjoyed that one. I don't remember what it was. I think it had a little frog on it.
There's more. I know which one. Yeah, that is a really good one. That's probably
that
still
one a
one of
lot.
my favorite.
I actually have a full poster of that.
Ooh, it's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know volume covers because you've been mostly on the Shonen Jump app, right?
Yeah, well, I went about. I was getting the big 3-in-1s, the physical ones.
Oh yeah.
For about a year before the Shonen Jump app became a thing. So I have but even those, like the covers are kind of
those aren't real covers.
tiny.
Yeah.
So I have about like 30-ish kind of, and people show me them sometimes.
All right,
but...
well, we'll forget that for now.
Yeah.
Villains.
Villains? Crocodile.
Yeah, we've done a bunch of these already, so I'm not gonna ask the rest of those. Okay, let's see. When you started to read the series back in 2017?
2018. January 2018. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What vision did you have about the manga before reading it? This comes from Jack D. Rackham 5 on Twitter. And he says he guesses your opinion's changed 544 chapters in.
Yes, very. I certainly did not think it had the amount of emotional depth that it did. I just kind of thought of it as, like, in my mind as an outsider, I was like, this is just a great example of a shonen thing that just keeps going and won't stop. Like, I assumed it had action and adventure and all that, but it just went going just on inertia, but now that I'm in it, and like the emotional quality of these characters is so rich, I'm completely blown away by that.
Can you do Blackbeard's laugh? That comes from, wait, now I lost the name. Anyway, can you do Blackbeard's laugh?
I will try.
Okay. Comes
That's
from
good.
Psychopt4H.
I hope I did it justice.
I think you did. Okay, I think that'll do it. Grant, where can people find you?
I mean, if you want the thing that most people follow me for, that would be the One Piece thread that I do, and you can just follow me on Twitter at @GrantTheThief. If you want to hear me talk a lot about basically anything that comes across my face, you can check out the Blade Licking Thieves podcast, where me and two of my buddies sit on the couch and watch movies and review them and have a whole lot of fun. And then you can also check me out on Super Senpai podcast, where me and my buddy Pat watch tokusatsu. Right now we're currently watching Lupin Ranger vs. Pat Ranger and hoping to wrap that up soon. And if you want to see, I also write some stuff sometimes. And if you want to see some of those articles, you can see it over at Yatatachi. That's YATTA and then TACHI.
This was a lot of fun, and that was the most fun I've had redoing a chapter that I can remember. Not that we've done it that much. So if you ever want to come back, maybe we could do before you catch up, maybe we could do a couple old chapters again. You're coming
fun.
up to some big stuff here, which I'm sure you're aware of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every single arc, people go, this is my favorite arc, and then everyone also says it just gets bigger from here, and I don't know how, but
Well, you're in for it.
yeah.
Yeah, you
At
get your
this
work
point-
cut out for you.
Yeah, at this point, you're in for it.
Yeah. But thanks so much for having me on. It was a blast. I'm
anytime.
glad to be.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to your reactions to the next few chapters. And by the
gosh.
next few, I mean like the next 100 or so. Let's just say the next 400. Thanks, Grant.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Sam, let's start with Ed. What's it called?
Peace.
What do we got, Sam?
Our only this piece this week comes from Morgil, and this is for you, Zach.
Oh, no.
So, Now that the
Don't
Japan
ask
trip
it.
is over with,
No.
how about that Zoe read-through episode?
Let's go to the first email. Let's go to the first. No,
Zoe is not that long.
No, I know. We should and could do it. I'm just trying to think of when.
I feel like with the most, I don't know. I feel like with the read-throughs for like more recent arcs, getting more time
is a good thing.
letting them like get old for a bit.
Yeah, I agree with Sam.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, let them get their good age, so they smell and they have that good mouth feel.
What?
I hate that word so much. You know, like wine.
Zach,
What?
did you say good mouth feel?
Yeah.
That's a thing.
That's a thing.
It's
That
a
is a
real
thing.
term that people use when describing
Yeah,
wine.
it sure is a thing.
I am.
Only the classiest understand mouth.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian. I was using it because it's the same way you would describe wine, as a good wine needs to age. So I don't like wine all that much, so I'm not coming from a completely douchey place and saying that. Okay, let's please move on. This one comes from Julian from Switzerland. It is an email. He's a huge fan of the podcast, listening all the way from Switzerland. Just listen to the Great One Piece read through. No,
Cool.
They're not asking about Zoe. It's okay. And as you were discussing hockey training for Zoro and Luffy, he wondered about something. Luffy and Zoro both had to renounce sake or food. What do you think the other Straw Hats would need to abstain from for their training?
Well, we know it's Sanji's.
Yeah.
Masturbating?
Yeah.
Nami's would be money.
Yeah.
Spending,
Robin's probably like
or
reading.
saving.
Robin wouldn't be able to read.
See, that's like the regular brain, but the galaxy brain is Robin wouldn't be able to draw and sketch stuff.
Brooke wouldn't be able to harass women.
I would say he wouldn't be able to tell any skull jokes.
Oh, that'd be
yeah,
that'd be
that'd be
harder.
great. Or any jokes. Galaxy.
You must give up on puns for 2 years.
Oh, Zach, you might be interested in this. I bought that ridiculous OVA that we saw the trailer for 10 years ago, Birth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I watched it this weekend.
Is it
And
good?
there's actually it's interesting. It's got great music from the guy who does the soundtracks of the Ghibli movies, and really interesting animation.
The problem was the trailer, if I recall. It was just
the animation is tremendous in that, but like the plot is a little. And anyway,
Yeah.
but there's a great skull joke in it because at one point, like, there's been some sort of humanity's died out, but at one point there's a giant
called
robot.
Birth.
There's a giant
Sorry, go
robot
ahead.
looking in the window of like this like desiccated husk of a city in a building, but there's two people and they're skeletons now, but they're clearly fucking on a couch.
Yeah.
And they like that just took me back. Like
That's a skull joke? Wow, Brooke got really, really weird.
Yeah.
they're
boning.
They're boning.
Okay. P.S. This person adds that they love the jokes during the read through about you and me, Ed, being an old couple getting annoyed of each other. I don't think that was a joke.
Today.
Yeah, next question comes from Joshua, who said, "Thanks for everything. Do you think the variation..." That's usually how you end an email, but that's fine. Do you think this variation of hockey is similar to the Kano ability or the Wano ability? I forget to do. Oh no, this Kano ability to do internal damage, shown in the Dressrosa arc with the Chin Zhao family.
Did they mention internal damage?
I don't. I have a vague recollection of what he's talking about.
Actually, visually, the thing it kind of reminds me of is Bartolomeo's barrier power. Like at the end when he's
yeah.
A little sketch of it does, but I know what they're talking about. When like Sai does those kicks and they have like a shockwave that like will break apart armor and stuff.
Jinbei kind of uses some like his fishman.
Well,
karate
Jinbei
is
uses
like
water.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Similar.
I mean, it has the same effect as this form of hockey kind of does, in that it internally damages you because you're made of water, mostly.
Right.
Next one comes from Tori Danger, not related to Carlos. With the most recent, thank you, Ed. With the most recent chapter explaining the type of hockey Luffy used on the collars being the same as Rayleigh's, I am wondering if that same invisible armor was that the same kind of invisible armor Luffy was trying to use. Because when I think of Invisible Army, this person thinks armor. This person thinks of Sentomaru's first appearance when he used something like that to block Luffy's attack.
Totally.
So do you think he's asking, do you think these are two different invisible armors, quote unquote, or the same thing?
I think it's the same. I think that's he's painting.
I think that's
pretty much the same thing.
very observant. Yeah. He also adds that this podcast has been getting me through long shifts at work and has been entertaining the idea of rereading One Piece from the very beginning. I'm always happy to hear that we help people's days go quicker, personally.
And as a One Piece fan, I think it is important to go back and reread the series at least once, because you get even more out of it the second time, honestly, in my opinion.
I think it's up to everyone when they want to make that jump back into it, because it is a commitment.
Mhm.
But I definitely think it is worth it, especially if you have been a fan for some time. That's it for
I'm not saying you have to
emails.
do it, but like you'll enjoy it so much.
What's going on Reddit, Alex?
So Reddit, we have a couple questions / comments. Cough up a buck, you cheap, says, as per your piece together discussion last week, I have an idea as to why Big Mom is ultimately in Wano. In Stephen's translation of 907, it reads as if Kaido owes Linlin a lifelong debt, and what he owes her is in fact time. What if Kaido can't die because Linlin literally gave him time via her devil fruit powers in the past, and now she is here to take that time back? Thoughts?
Hey, like she could be the one person who could kill Kaido. That'd be interesting. Like she has to use her powers.
Yeah.
I like that.
I didn't even think about that. That's pretty neat.
I keep forgetting about the suicidal element to Kaido. And that adds a whole other level that I always forget, because it was introduced so long ago.
In addition to like him being
I
a
just
drunk
have
and a
to-
mess.
You just have to check his MySpace page and see if Papa Roach's Last Resort is the song that plays on his MySpace page.
I still think it's an Arkham's Razor scenario where it's just the simplest answer is probably the correct one, which is immortality from the Op
Dragon.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah.
I also love the idea of Arkham's Razor. It's the best new Batman game to come out.
It's
oh, Brian, we love you, man.
Sorry. I feel bad, but I also love that game. Go ahead.
So, Emerald Mudkip says, when are we going to get Frankie weaponizing his nipples? I mean, he already uses them as flashlights, and the pacifistas use laser weaponry, so the technology does exist. And then there is a image that they posted that I cannot see. So, I don't know if that's Photoshop or if it's just like,
He did
Anyway.
something with his nipples against Senior Pink, right?
I think he just used nipple lights again, just to get them. So
Yeah, I think the whole joke there that I think doesn't land super well was the machismo thing. We're super machismo, and then he uses his nipple lights, or nipple lasers.
I don't know. That's still funny.
yeah.
Was it?
I
let's
still like that.
Next one.
Yes. So the next one, actually, if it requires a little bit of checking out the end chapter of 893. So while I'm talking, you guys, if you want, can go right to that. This comes from Hockey Scooch, who says, hello, OPP. Do you think at the end of chapter 893 that Katakuri was displaying a sign of Ryo-Oh with the barrier around his fist? It looks very similar. How the newest chapter displays Ryo-Oh, Luffy has a barrier during the explanation that Hyo is telling. So I did go to the end of chapter 893. There's that double spread of there's two panels on the end of the page of Luffy and Katakuri squaring off, and it's funny because their fighting poses actually mirror each other. Pretty neat. But yes, it does look
they're
like
so
he's
similar.
got.
Well,
Yeah.
those are his that's his like mochi controls for his.
That's
mochi
what I
arms.
assumed. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Don't
thought
they
that
kind
as
of like
well.
bubble off too to suggest that as well as part of his
Yeah.
mochi power?
They do.
Yeah.
I
don't-
I haven't seen it, but I remember that pose.
Well, and the Ryu is that's just his name for armament hockey, isn't it?
That's just his name,
Yeah.
I think, for all hockey.
Yes.
I think maybe specifically armament. I'm not positive. But yeah,
Or,
that
like,
is not the
armament is
name of
definitely the
this.
part-
That's what they call it in Wano.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it's just the
Mhm.
localized name. It's like how Luffy's called Drake in Greece. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll do it.
All right, that's it for Reddit. So Ed, it's time to
Peace the tweet. Yeah.
do we got anything this week?
Sure. First one comes from Wakui Tsubasa, who says, if devil fruits were named like JoJo stands, what names would the Straw Hats fruits be? Bonus, well, granted it's another segment, so yeah.
Ooh.
But yeah,
Wait,
JoJo
they
stands.
have stands. What?
If devil fruits were JoJo stands, what would they be named?
So like band names or album names.
Rubber Soul.
Yeah. But since that's a stand already taken, I would have said
Rubber Band
Man. Yeah.
Oh yes, perfect.
Okay.
Buggies would be Chop Suey.
You're that one just like ready to go.
I did not, but I'm good like that.
And Nami's would be Tangerine Dream.
Nami doesn't have a devil fruit.
Well, she would
She
have a
should.
stand. So
Are we going?
yeah.
Are we just going Straw Hats or just any devil fruit?
You can do whatever
This
you
is
want.
Straw
man.
Hats, yeah.
Smoker would be Smoke on the Water.
Oh,
The easiest guitar song to learn how to play, I guess,
on Rock Band.
Concrete the elephants.
or just in life. I think
it's
a lot of
the-
people
it's
learn
the
that song as
classic.
their first. Yeah.
Crocodiles would be Sandstorm. Remember DDR?
By Darude! Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Shit. What else? What else we got? Because God, there's so many.
There are a million.
Trafalgar Law would be Dr. Feelgood.
Oh,
fruit.
Enru would be The Thunder Rolls by Garth Brooks.
Would that be the full name of it? The Thunder
By
Rolls by
Garth
Garth Brooks?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
He has to
I
say
can say
that
that.
full thing every time he wants the stand to come out.
Lucci's would be Cat Scratch Fever.
God, that's perfect.
Foxy's
That's true.
Foxy's would be Slow Ride.
Yeah. Yes, it would be.
Oh man, Like I thought.
And his attack would be Take It Easy.
Can gangs be Capone's be Gangster's Paradise?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. I got one.
I mean, yeah, they do all live inside him, so it's paradise inside a gangster.
It's true.
Man, we're doing a lot better.
Wait. So
What's Chopper?
wouldn't Hawkins then be Amish Paradise? No. Okay.
No.
I'm leaving. I'm done.
Bye.
It's okay, Zach. Sorry, I thought I had a bit there and I didn't. That was just bad. I'm trying to think. We got any?
What's next, Ed?
God,
Please.
Goddamn, Brule is Man in the Mirror.
Again, if that hadn't been taken.
That's
Um,
that's already a.
Oh
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
it's true. That is one.
Yeah.
Forgot.
There's a Madonna song
just saw
called
that one.
"Human Nature." Could be
Yeah.
Choppers.
I'm not sure if that
would-
was appropriate.
Would
This is Chopper,
Katakuri
you won't
be?
understand.
Would Katakuri have a Weird Al song? Rice, Rice, Baby.
Yep.
That's not a real Weird Al song.
Should
It is a Weird Al song.
It is not.
it's a Weird Al song you found on Napster in 1999.
Oh, is that not? Oh, wow. I got duped.
Yeah.
Oh man, but he
Oh,
did.
are you
Yeah,
serious?
big
But
time.
he did the Star Wars gangster rap at least.
No, he didn't. Oh,
Okay,
you're making
Ed,
fun
what's
of-
next? What's
Okay,
next?
but I do know that When Doves Cry was sang by Michael Jackson, so I'm going to trust this weird file that's not an MP3. And
Look,
it's
man,
not-
everybody knows that the only song that Weird Al ever did is called Yoda Smokes Weed, and it's a skit.
What year is this?
1999, I told you. Okay. Next one comes from Matt Hansen, who says, I'm sure you guys have talked about how evil and scary Blackbeard is. How do you feel about his crew? I often wonder about how they met and why they're with Teach. Did they know him before he left Whitebeard's crew, or did he pick them up along the way like Luffy did?
I mean, clearly he's not above just picking up some random guys out of prison who have no other allegiance to him.
Lafitte was a police officer. We know that.
Yeah, I think that they have a really cool mystique to them. I really would like to know more about them, and apparently the Vivre cards don't tell too much more that we already know.
On the other hand, though, I don't like, I'm kind of tired of learning all the villains' backstories, like in Dressrosa. And I mean, it would be kind of interesting if they just never told the backstory of the Blackbeard crew, but that's not Oda's style, really.
Well, I don't want that to be in the comic. I just want to, I want that to be in like supplemental material, like a data book or something.
Yeah, I think Blackbeard's backstory is crucial to who he is, especially since he's always posed as like the anti-Luffy, following a very similar fate.
And why was he crying in front of the moon?
Yeah, that's a big question.
Yeah, the moon, guys. The moon.
Oh boy, here we go again. You had to just mention the moon in front of Zack.
What's the next question?
Zack the Moon Man.
That's what they call me. That's my full name. Zack Logan, the Moon Man. Ed, what's next?
Moon Man.
You already read this question from Jack D. Rackham. And next one comes from Wes the Fitting, who says, after this week, I want Big Mom and Kaido to team up so we can get Sanji versus Perospero. That's okay.
Never going to happen.
Interesting.
Missed the opportunity. Never going to happen now. Also, he's missing an arm. Not that matters. I don't even. It's nothing to do with anything.
Could just melt his candy, I guess.
That's true. He definitely could. And then he'd have syrup going down his the rest of his arm, and that's just unpleasant.
Next level, this is the last one actually. Dark Leviathan says, "Is it me or is Big Mom using the Infinity Gauntlet to punch Luffy?" And he has taken a panel from the manga and drawn he's done the telestrator on it. And hey, she's got chubby little fingers.
Well, she's also got the jewelry. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now
Blackbeard.
Since we did the Blackbeard, we did the Blackbeard chapter back to back. They both have a ton of jewelry on their hands, Big Mom and Blackbeard. So maybe that's like part of being an emperor is that you either have an Infinity Gauntlet or you have a lot of...
No, that's street fighting. You wear rings, cut someone up.
That's true.
I think that's just pirate flair, man. I mean,
that's why they do it.
If you recall, Arlong has rings inside of his, like, they're kind of like...
they're not rings, they're drilled into his skin.
Yeah, they're clip-ons.
They pierce through his weapons.
Yeah, he's just a poser. Anyway,
that was it.
Anything else? Okay, no. Let's round off. You guys ready?
Oh yeah.
This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 576 for June 30th, 2019. I bet you all forgot about trivia, but we have that coming up. If you haven't, please check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. I added over 3,500 freaking photos on our Patreon page covering the entire Japan OPP 10 trip from beginning to its end, except for the part that Steve was in, because I wasn't there to take pictures of that part. So please check that all out. Patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. There's also extended episodes, exclusive episodes, videos, and more videos from OPP 10, the entire full-length OPP Japan documentary, and so much more. What are you waiting for? Join us at Patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. Big thanks to Grant for coming on today's show. Hope to have him back soon. So much fun going through a classic chapter with him. And even though it doubled our time doing this show, it was a really fun episode to do. Also, huge thanks to Maddie, who is living in Japan but not from Japan, as she very correctly mentioned. Hopefully we'll have her back on again soon. She'll be on next week's episode or I guess this week's episode of Talking Simpsons, representing fathers everywhere, talking about what is that season 9 episode?
Lost Our Lisa.
Lost Our Lisa.
End of the line.
Don't make me tap the sign.
Don't you guys
She got
remember
nothing Crackton.
one of our most quoted Simpsons lines of our trip was a velvet rope.
Yeah, and end of the line.
We did do that one.
We
were
rode
on
a lot of buses.
Yeah, we
Oh,
rode a
yeah.
lot of buses.
I'm sure it was said.
Yeah, and trains, in which I guess it's also somewhat relevant for. So, yeah, check that out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Steve.
That was also from Lost Our Lisa.
Oh,
the,
okay.
the bear. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot that was from Lost Our Lisa. Anyway, good episode of that. And we'll be back, of course, next week with our recap of chapter 948. And we are going to have a special guest on for that episode as well, which I should totally know off. Oh, it's going to be Shannon Strucci. It's going to be on for that episode. So looking forward to that. The One Piece Magazine Volume 6 also recently came out. So whenever we do have another manga break, Steven is out right now preparing for that. And I think he'll be back next week on the show. We miss Steven dearly. So, he did a really good job on this chapter, of course. Please support the official release. I had a lot of emails and stuff from people out there who, for some reason,
these people take the time to send you emails?
Yeah, and they're reading illegal versions of it when the legal version is available for free the same time it comes out in Japan at shonenjump.viz.com and mangaplus.shueisha.co.jp. I don't understand, but
Yeah,
I
don't be
understand why they
addicted.
send emails. Like,
yeah,
how
don't. Yeah,
Keep in your pants.
As Brian said. Brian, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Dark King Zoro, all one word. You can also check me out on the Animation Success Stories podcast. That's ASS Podcast, where we interview other animation professionals to find out their personal backstory and why and how they got into animation. And watch new episodes of Rick and Morty, supposedly coming out in November. That's what we're told.
I think they're going to premiere or do a preview of it, they said, at the Adult Swim concert in LA, I think, right?
Oh, I just saw the advertising for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Eric Andre's doing a live show there as well.
Yeah, that looks really cool.
Yeah, maybe I'll get tickets.
Brian, if you're not getting tickets, what is going on?
You tell me.
Unfortunately, I'm not in charge. Sam, where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Lucky Chainsaw. They can find me on AnimeNewsNetwork.com doing the daily streaming reviews for One Piece, Black Clover, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind. And they can find me on the One Piece podcast every week doing the anime recaps.
Thank you, Sam. Steve, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. Steve Yurko is the username. Listen to me on other podcasts I host. The Deep End I do with Matt J, covering Adult Swim and other adult animated cartoons. Also listen to me on Toon Sweet, the Wrestling Entrance theme podcast I do with our good friend Doctor. And you can find me at the Anime Expo Artist Alley this weekend in downtown Los Angeles.
Alex, where can people find you?
Find me at Dude Exclamation on Twitter, all one word, also Instagram. Please listen to Toho Yaro, the Japanese Film Club podcast that I do with Joey and Scott. And Grant, our guest from today, is also on an episode. It's the Godzilla vs. Astro Monster episode. So if you want to hear us and Grant talk about Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, check that out. I also would implore you, if you're in the DC area, to please check out the sci-fi improv show that I am in called Starship Odyssey: The Final Mission. You can go to witdc.org to get tickets for that. There are 2 showings every Saturday and some Sundays until August 4th. So if you are in or around the DC area, please come check it out. It's unlike any other improv show I've ever been in or have ever seen. There's lights, there's costumes, and all of it is completely improvised on the spot. So please check that out. And last but not least, superartfight.com/merch and buy Cute Animals on Fire, the card game I helped work on.
Ed, where could the good people out there contact us?
You are Zach_Logan on Twitter. I am Edward E. One Piece. I'm also at Weeb Trailers. You can see some of the old trailers I posted up there recently. You're posting Princess Jellyfish this week. It's a good show. Good trailer.
And I have been watching through Ava, which is an
That's right.
interesting experience.
Yeah, it gets better. It's a great show. Anyway.
It's good with bits of weird in the middle. Yeah, well, anyway, go ahead.
It gets a lot heavier coming up in the next few episodes.
Yeah, that's what I've been told.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, the podcast can be found at OnePiecePodcast.com, Twitter.com, YouTube.com, and Facebook.com/OnePiecePodcast. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is the email address. OnePiecePodcast is our Skype name. Please support us, Patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. You can subscribe on SoundCloud, subscribe on Spotify, subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts, or call us on our phone number. Zach?
And that phone number is 347-497-MAJI.
MAJI.
That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Anytime.
Why don't you call?
With your questions, comments, theories, or what gloop that you could offer us.
Surprised we did not
We need
get
to offer him gloop.
No, we need to offer him glorp.
Okay.
Augustus gloop.
We're going to do part 2 of our Vivre card trivia segment now. For those who don't know, you're going to pick a number from 1 to 1,000. I'm going to pick the closest and or unused Vivre card to the number you chose. I'm going to ask some questions. You're going to try and guess who I'm talking about if it's not completely obvious, or try and figure out the trivia about the character on said Vivre card. So basically guess the character. That's all you got to do. First one to get to 5 wins. Steven won last week, so he doesn't have to defend his title. We're going to go in the same order we did the the first manga recap we did today. Brian, Sam, Alex, Ed, and Steve.
Oh boy.
So Brian, pick a number from 1 to 1,000.
880. What?
I thought I went first.
I said Brian. No,
Okay.
I didn't include you this time as the first, since you always go first, Ed.
That's
800
true.
and what?
888.
888. Okay, let's see what we got for 888. Okay, this is the closest. Ooh, this is one of Steven's favorite characters. Let's give you some information about her.
Mm-hmm.
Birth date, January 25th. She is 61 years old, 221 centimeters. Her blood type is S, which is unusual. On the back, there are drawings of her if she was, a little bit more fit. I'm assuming it's when she was younger. And also when she was a kid. And in her arm is a paintbrush. And
Giola.
yeah, there you go.
Yay. Giola.
I'll get a little harder as we
That was
go along.
Viola?
Giola.
Jola.
Sam,
Oh, Jola.
pick a number.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
1,000.
I hate you. Okay. So we're gonna go with number. It's the last one I have in here. Okay. This flashback character is 26 years old. He was born on July 15th, so his birthday is coming up pretty soon. 435 centimeters tall compared to Luffy's. Wow. I did not realize he was that much taller than Luffy. 174 centimeters for Luffy. His blood type is S. And on the back are some conceptual drawings of him wearing a hat.
Is it Don Quixote Rocinante?
Yes. Did you already know what I was going to pick there?
No, you said it was a flashback character.
Yeah,
that was
that was the
immediately
big
where I
hint.
was thinking.
That was the big hint. Okay.
And nothing you said contradicted that.
Okay. Alex, pick a number.
Okay. I'll do 660.
Okay, let's see what we got. So I think this is the closest person. Let me just make sure. Yeah. This person has 2 cards. That's a big hint right there. His birthday, March 20th. His age is either 10 or 22. His height is either 100 centimeters or 187 centimeters. On the back are some conceptual drawings of him. He is also wearing a hat.
Which number is this one?
His number is actually 659.
659. Okay.
His blood type
and
is
he-
X, which I didn't know existed.
Okay. 10 and 22.
Yep.
Those are his ages,
Yep, and he has 2 cards.
and he has 2 cards.
Yep, that's the big hint there.
Yeah, that is a big hint. And he's wearing a hat on the back of the card
And on the front in one of them.
and on the front in one of them. Okay. Is this character Sabo?
It is.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm
I
gonna
was
start
trying to,
going
like-
harder after this round. Yeah, go ahead.
Like
that was
I was
pretty
well,
tough.
the thing that was throwing me off was 10 because I was like, shit, was he that old when in the flashback?
Apparently.
Yeah,
I was
Luffy was 8, so he was 2 years
Yeah.
older than him.
Ed, pick a number.
I was trying to figure that out. Yeah.
500.
500. Let's see who we got here. There's a lot in this number range for some reason. So the closest is gonna be okay. This is a harder one. I don't know if you're getting this, even if I give you every hint.
Really?
March 29th is her birthday. She is 17, and that shocks me. She's 178 centimeters. Her blood type is XF. On the back is a picture of a dog peeing on a man.
Wow.
Actually, I know this. I know exactly who this is.
Remember, if Ed doesn't get it, we go around with chances to steal. So, Steve, you're on deck. Name her name.
Shalria.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. The
That was
dog
good.
being, the
Yeah,
dog,
that was the
dog-
big hint.
Yeah. That's
I try and give like one big hint for all of these, if that's not obvious. Steve, pick a
Oh,
number.
she's
He's a-
17?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Yeah, I said
Yeah.
that shocked me. If you recall.
Yeah, I thought
He's
she was
a
in like her mid 20s.
Celestial Dragon, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was the big hint is that it had a dog peeing
Carlos's
on someone
brother.
on the back. Yeah.
Sister.
Yeah.
Steve, pick a number.
42.
Wow. Okay, making me really flip through this.
Oh, it's
Life, the universe, and everything.
I'm gonna give you 41.
He probably memorized Pearl's number.
This individual is 51 years old. He was born on March 4th, 184 centimeters. His blood type is S. On the front, his flag is represented by 2 swords that are, crossed each other. That's the.
Oh, I know who this is.
I'm sorry. Oh, so that's all the hints?
That's all that's the big hint. Yeah.
Oh.
This one is a tough one. You picked a tough one. This is number 41. There is no 42 that I have.
41. They have their own flag. Swords.
It's
across.
2 swords crossing each other. I'm like trying to think of any other hints I could give you here. I don't know if I can.
Yeah, that would give it away.
Yeah, anything else is going to give this away. He's 51.
51?
Yeah, I'm going to give you 3 seconds here.
Mihawk?
And? No. Brian.
Why am I blanking on his name? Can I say who it is?
Well, I'll put it this way. If you say who it is, but don't say his name, you're going to give that to the next person.
Okay, god damn it. I gotta think of his name really quick.
So you're going to get 3 seconds here.
God, no. I can't. I
Sam.
can't remember his name.
I mean, it's not Shanks, is it?
Nope. Alex.
Koshiro.
Yeah. Good job,
He has
Alex.
a flag?
Zoro's master.
Yeah.
Koshiro.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. His
It's
flag
a hard
is
one. You
the
picked a
I
hard
want
one.
to say-
it's the dojo logo.
Yeah, I
on-
wanted to
on
say
Zoro's
Denjiro,
gi.
but I knew that wasn't correct.
yeah.
Brian, you get to choose, though.
Oh, cool. 72.
72. Let's see who we got here for number 72. Okay, we did 72 last time, so I'm gonna do 73.
Okay.
This person is 28 years old somehow. September 7th is his birthday. He's 184 centimeters. Remember, Luffy's 174, so pretty similar height. On the back is a drawing of him, or a sketch of him winking. And there's also a drawing of him dancing. And I believe this is from a cover page. And also a picture of him bloodied up. And I'll leave it there.
How old is he? 20.
28, but that's going to really just throw you in the wrong direction.
Is it Django?
No.
Hmm.
Sam.
Oh, what's the number?
The number of what? 73.
73. I blinked out on most of the hints. Shoot.
I'll give you 3 seconds here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Alex.
Okay, number 73. He's 28. You said there's a picture of him winking on the back?
There's a sketch of him winking, so probably like, trying to figure him out kind of sketch.
A sketch of him winking and also bloodied up.
And one of him dancing in a cover page.
73. Fuck.
Gonna give you 3 seconds here, Alex.
Is it full body?
Yeah. Alex is now winning 3 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 0.
Nice.
Sam. Pick a number.
My at first I was like Duval, but when you said 73, I'm like, shit, that's not.
Brian was super close. Like,
Yeah, I
you
know.
completely had the right idea.
Yeah, I think Django is a little bit older than that though.
I don't think Django has a card yet. As
He
far as
does.
I have. Oh, he does? Okay, well, I do
Yeah,
not have it.
he's
Or
in the
no,
Corel
it's. Oh yeah, you're right. It's earlier on probably. Anyway, Sam.
101.
101. Let's see who we got here. So there is no 101. We're gonna go with 102. Okay. So let's just start first. His birthday is 5 is May 23rd. He's 35 years old, 257 centimeters. His blood type is X. And I'm gonna give you the one hint, since I know you watched the anime this week. Sanji makes a sound effect with his name in this week's anime.
Makes a sound effect with his name.
Sanji makes a sound effect with his name. 102.
And he's 35.
That's not going to help you, probably.
And he's how tall?
He's 257 centimeters to Luffy's 174, so he's almost double the height. Not quite. Well, not really.
Makes a sound effect with
his name. His name is a sound effect that Sanji makes in this week's anime episode. And I would not give that hint to anyone else, but I know, Sam, I know you saw this week's anime episode. And I remember I specifically thought about this character who I never would have thought about. Let me make that clear. If not for Sanji making that sound effect this week.
What the hell? Oh, is it Chew?
Yeah, it is. He does a kissy face. And it's chew, chew, chew.
I thought Sanji
like,
saw Chew in the newspaper. It's like, oh, it's that guy.
Okay, Alex, pick a number.
Can't believe I got that, honestly.
That was good.
What?
That's pretty funny. Okay, let's do number.
101,000.
Okay, let's do 222.
It's like you had that number just ready to go. Okay, let's see what we got. Someone must have picked this last time because 224 is taken. So let's go with 200.
Okay.
Okay, this person was born on April 26th. He's 41 years old, 213 centimeters. His blood type is S. On the front page is him both looking menacing and also laughing, which is very uncharacteristic. On let's see if there's anything else. On the back is a picture of a sculpture of the type of devil fruit animal that he is.
A sculpture of the type of devil fruit animal that he is.
Yeah, and he is number
He's
200.
41.
Oh, okay.
He's 41, and he is.
It's a picture of
and he
him
doesn't
laughing,
normally.
which is very uncharacteristic, I think. I don't recall him laugh. It's the how to laugh thing, so they have to show him laughing because they have that in all of them.
Yes.
He doesn't smile all that much.
Okay. 213 centimeters, and Luffy is how tall?
174. So taller, but
174,
not
so
like
he's taller than Luffy.
exceptionally- Yeah, not exceptionally.
Doesn't laugh. Animal devil fruit. Okay, so I'm going to.
The big hint is the statue.
No, I know it's between one or the other. I'm going to say it's Pell.
No.
Fuck.
Ed.
Chaka.
Yes.
Ah.
He is crapshoot on that one.
Yeah, that was more of a crapshoot. I thought like Pell does laugh and smile more. That's why I was trying to hint at. Neither of them smile all that much though. Ed, pick a number.
Well, I had good luck with Sabati last time. 5'10".
5'10". Let's see who we got here. Okay, 5'10". I know you like this character. As you should. January 17th is his birthday. He's 42 years old, 166 centimeters. Blood type S. On the back, let's see. So there's some sketches of him. There's one if he was a woman, one if he was a kid, and one of his ship.
Okay, is that it?
That's it. Those are pretty big hints if you put those all together.
Yeah. Capone.
Yep.
Yeah, being 42 and shorter than Luffy. That's not many characters like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good job. Yeah, that's why I didn't give too much there. Steve. By the way, the score is Ed and Alex are tied with 3. Sam has 2. Brian has 1. Steve has 0.
I'm bad at this. Let's see. $2.99.
99. Let's go all the way back there. Oh wow, there's a lot in the 100s. Not a lot in the 200s. So let's go with okay, 270. Born April 6th. He is 72 years old. I did this character already. Not gonna choose him.
Oh.
Okay. I forgot we did him last week. Let's do 266 here. He's 41 years old. His birthday is October 23rd. He's 305 centimeters. His blood type is X. There's a picture of him on the back as a child and a woman. There's also a picture on the back of him as a kid, blindfolded and crying. And crying! He's 305 centimeters.
It's a metric system. Jeez. How
compared
how
to
much
174 is Luffy's.
drawn as a child, and the child drawing is him blindfolded?
And crying, which is uncharacteristic of him. I don't think we ever see him cry as an adult.
Oh, I know who this is.
But have we seen him as a kid in the canon, or just that drawing?
Mm-hmm. Nope. This is not the drawing of him. There was a separate picture of him from the manga crying with a blindfold on. So not the drawing. That's a separate thing. There's also a drawing of him as a kid.
You've said
He's
drawing
happy
like
in
5
that.
times, and it's confused me.
Sorry. Okay. So there's sketches from the SBS. One of him as a woman. One of him as a kid. He's happy in both of those. There's also a panel from the manga on the back of him crying blindfolded, which is
okay.
So it's not a photo of him crying and blindfolded.
Right.
Doflamingo?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Okay, Brian, pick a number.
Yeah.
753.
753. Let's see who we got here. Okay. 753. Let's go with 748. He's born on January 31st. He's 46 years old, 627 centimeters. His blood type is XF, which seems to be popular today. He is a married man, or not married. Yeah, I think he is married. Yeah, he's married. And there's a picture of his, I believe, his wife on the back with hearts hugging him, and his wife is significantly larger than him. Who is he?
How old?
Oh, okay.
He's 46 years old.
And how tall again?
627 centimeters compared to Luffy's 174. Much taller.
Oh god, I can see the Aladdin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good job, Brian. Sam.
I like Aladdin. He's big wife guy.
Yep. And he looks like the genie.
He does.
Yeah, because I could see the picture of this couple embracing, but I had like, who is that?
This is a close game so far. 2-2, 3-3, and 1. Sam, which is why this is taking a long time. Sam.
30.
30. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay. I'm going to give you 34. His birthday is July 16th. He is 22 years old, 179 centimeters. Blood type S. I'm trying to do this without giving this away. There is a picture. There are drawings of him from his original appearance, and his eyebrows are extremely pronounced in that. I think more so, yeah, they're not really super pronounced in his current look or the pre-time skip look that they give him. And his how to laugh is him looking annoyed at Zoro.
Wow.
It's really hard to describe this character without giving it away, in my opinion. But
Somebody who's annoyed, and I'm assuming it's not Sanji.
no, it is not a Straw Hat, because it's not one of the
Right.
first 10.
Right. Somebody with eyebrows looking annoyed at Zoro.
Is this
And
how
he's
to laugh?
22.
Yeah. That seems more accurate, though still a little young. I find everyone too young, but it's not like absurd.
And he has a pre-time skip and a post-time skip appearance.
That look pretty different, yeah. One looks a lot cooler.
I think I know who this is.
3 seconds, Sam.
Is it the mayor of...
Nope.
Oh, not 22.
34.
Never mind.
Is the number. 22 is the age. Alex.
Right.
Is it Helmeppo?
It is.
Oh.
Alex,
Okay.
pick a number, and if you get this, you win.
Okay. Let's see. How about 45? Have we done that one?
I'll let you know in a second. No. Let's do 46, though, because I don't have a 45.
Okay.
Everyone loves this character. He was born on August 8th. He is 39 years old, 192 centimeters. His blood type is F. There are a lot of concept drawings of him on the back. One where he looks fat. He does not in the actual manga. One where he is skinny and has an afro. One where he is skinny and has a top hat. And one where he has way too much eyeliner. None of these are accurate representations of what he actually looks like. And I'll put it this way: we definitely talked about him in this week's episode.
Oh wow. Let's see.
With Grant.
With Grant. So how old is he again?
I think he's 39.
39. Afro, top hat.
These are all concept designs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's Buggy.
It is Buggy.
Yeah. All those wacky clown designs. Yep.
Yeah. I didn't remember. Where is that from? I don't even remember those designs.
I don't remember those concepts either.
Yeah.
I've
Anyway,
seen the
Alex,
Vivre card.
congrats.
Yeah.
You win our Taiyaki this week. Hard fought. That was really tough. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll make this best out of 3 next time.
I'm glad.
thank you,
I'm glad I
guys.
got to do one of these because I definitely was yelling out answers in the car when I was listening to like the last episode.
Now people could do that to you. That's going to do it for this week. Next week, we'll be back with Shannon Strucci, our special guest, to discuss Chapter 948. And Steven should be back as well next week. Until then, everyone, my name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
My name is Steve.
And my name is Alex.
See you next week, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
「もの失いたくないから信じたその先へと」
We're gonna put on a show that will shake the world.
Alex just does
Well
that laugh
done.
all the time.
Well done.